Welcome back to the Watch, the Culture Crusade.
What's going on, everybody?
How is everyone? Good to see everyone.
I need to shorten this. It's very long. It's very long.
Turns out Tuesday night's main event over on Geeks and Gamers has a slow start, so they're starting like at the exact same time as we are. So I think most of our audience might not be hanging around while we're live, but for everyone that we do have, good to see you. But that's the thing, like that's why I originally tried to start this live stream a day later, and we might need to revisit looking at another time to just make it line up better with everyone else in, you know,
there are so many streams in the space, dude. It's ridiculous. Like tonight, because I thought you would go live like an hour later usually, which is fine. You didn't. It actually kind of works out really well for me, but they invited me a small stream from some boys in my community to go and talk about some movies and stuff and hang out over there at like 8:30. And so that's why I was telling you I was going to have to, dude, like Tuesdays is such a loaded night to stream. Mm-hmm. And it's why I didn't stream on Tuesdays.
Oh, that might be what's thrown out Lit Dev and Mike. Daylight savings switched over. And I, like an idiot, didn't really adjust for that for you guys in the US. And so we're probably an hour early for most people.
Oh, yeah. Hey, whatever. You were like, hey, we're going live in 45 minutes. I read the group texts, okay?
Yes. Sorry, Lit Dev and Mike. That's my fault. They probably wondering, why are we starting so early?
This might work out better.
Maybe. I mean, it certainly helps me out on FNT because I usually have to get up at 5:30 in the morning to catch FNT. So now it'll be 6:30. But when you guys switch over on your daylight savings, it's another hour. And so the start time is actually at 8 o'clock in the morning for me, which is far more reasonable. But when it's not, so anyway, it's all a bit messed up at the moment.
That is the one unified thing in America that brings people together is we all hate daylight savings time. Like just every time they like put it, they're like, yeah, we're thinking of putting this on the ballot and getting an initiative going. And what do you, and just down the board, Republicans and Democrats are like, please get rid of this garbage. We don't want it anymore. We don't need it anymore. Just get rid of it. And they won't do it.
Yeah. Hey, Lit Dev. It's an hour early for you. Sorry about that. I think that's my fault. If you didn't catch my daylight savings switch over, and I, like an idiot, I forgot about it. I just like, we adjust the clocks and then business as usual. And I didn't realize it's an hour extra early for you.
Yeah, that was a little early. It's like, wait a minute, already?
I'm sorry. Like, does this work better or worse for you? Because we can kick it back an hour later again.
It's at this point, it doesn't really matter. It's just I just didn't know that it started earlier.
I also didn't know it started earlier until I saw the message.
I just completely forgot. It's like, hey, starting at the usual time for me. But no, I need to adjust for you guys because America's more important than Australia.
What the fuck? Well, I mean,
no, it is. I mean, yes. Well, there's scales, right? My local politics, as boring as they are more important to me because that affects me more. Yet at the same time, American politics also affect me. And so, because they do, by the way.
Yeah.
We start all the wars, so
you start all the wars, and if something goes wrong in Europe, if a recession hits you guys, there's a follow-on effect for me.
We do not start all of the only reason.
Well, unless Trump is in office, then we don't start any wars. But then,
anywhere
else,
I was gonna say we didn't start World War II. We didn't start World War I. I mean, technically, Korea and Vietnam was.
But then we learned what good business war is. We made
dude, gotta fire up that war machine, make some money, bro. It's so good.
There's a depressing reality to that. They talk about the what is it? The military-industrial complex?
Hasn't traditionally a lot of wars been fought for land and riches? Like there have been a few of them that weren't, but like
oil
throughout
is
history,
a big one,
throughout history, it's always been like resources. Like we're gonna go fight these guys, and so we're not historically apolitical here. Like, and it's kind of following the trend. I mean, it's an old boring trend, but a trend nonetheless.
It seems like that, but like Australia doesn't start any wars, but we just back up our our friends. And like there was this funny video about it tried to depict all the countries in personalities. And oh, have you seen that video?
I don't think I have.
I don't know, but
I do those with an AI art or something like that.
No, this is like an old video. So it might have been a comedian talking about, you know, if all the countries were
is it an old like cartoon one?
I don't know, but it was hilarious because they were like, the United States would be the jock with the really big dong who just comes in swinging. And Australia would be his little weak little buddy who's going behind him, egging him on, like, yeah, mate, we're gonna F you up, yeah, mate. It's like,
wait, Australia's the foo and we're Gaston.
But it's like that is so true. It's just we're the little guy, but we always back up our mates.
Tell me, Australia will come in and say, and we'll sing a song about how awesome America is. Like,
they're the fucking bard.
I like America.
They're
one
the
Smith
bard?
like America.
Oh god, that's so great.
Or U.S. Maybe they're U.S. You have the same syllables as Gaston.
God. God.
That's why everything affects Australia, and then there's the local Australian stuff as well. But speaking of stuff that's happening globally, like the hurricane that's hitting Florida, holy crap!
Yeah,
that's serious, man. I'm watching this, and I'm like, oh, so very concerned for all the Floridians.
Well, I know a decent chunk of people down there too. Like I know a lot of people down there, and now if you talk with the thing is to talk with like native Floridians, and if native Floridians are freaked out, everybody should have. I've seen news stories where they're like, it's gonna be wild. This hurricane's gonna decimate this, that, and the other thing. I call my guys down there who are natives down there, like, nah, bro, we're good. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, it's fine. Like, we're not even boarding up. And I'm like, but the news said, they're like, yeah, they're retarded.
This is Category 5, bro. It's not that bad.
No, they were like, no, my buddies, Cat 5 is pretty bad down there, actually. Like, so the natives are actually, like, pretty.
This one seems to be, like, now it might calm down a little bit when it gets closer to the shore or hits the shore, but at the moment,
because the waters get real shallow there, so it doesn't have as much to pick up right before it makes landfall. So hopefully it will lessen. But in the Gulf at the moment, didn't they say it's like reach a Category 5 or something like that? Yeah, they're saying it's going to be a Cat 5 before it makes landfall. Yeah, dude, so it's going to be rough. Apparently, Waffle House closed down?
That's how you know it's real bad.
Oh, they're screwed. They're screwed.
Well, the people who are at Waffle House probably go out and fight the hurricane. They'll probably try.
Dude, Waffle House doesn't close down for crap. Waffle House is 365. They don't care.
LitDev is referring to the how tough employees are, that they always get in fights. You've seen the lady catches the chair.
Dude, I used to go to Waffle House at 2 o'clock in the morning for lunch when I was working nights in the construction world. I'm telling you, I've seen some people at Waffle House, bro. We've driven by Waffle Houses because dudes were pointing guns at other dudes, and we're like, let's not go to that one. I'm being serious, dude. And that was in Colorado. The memes are real with Waffle House.
I mean, like Waffle House seems hardcore.
Dude, you have no idea.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, it's wild. Oh, but man, you get a loaded Waffle House hash brown bowl. They're so good. Oh, they're
good? Is it good food?
No, it's not. It's comfort food. It's comfort food. It's one of those that's like, it's bad for you. You know it's bad for you, but you're like, oh yeah. It's had the same taste since they opened.
Yeah. Fast food in America is something different for a foreigner, because like we have a version of Burger King in Australia called Hungry Jack's, and it's this weird, like I don't know, IP rights or whatever. But anyway, Burger King in Australia is Hungry Jack's, and when I was in the US, on my way back at the airport, there was a Burger King. I was like, yeah, I could go for a snack before I leave. So I go and order, what I wanted. I'm thinking, I'm a bit hungry. I think I'll get 2 bacon deluxes. Now, here's the context, okay? A bacon deluxe in Australia is one of the smaller burgers, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the size of it like a cheeseburger, but with lots of bacon, and it's nice and everything like that. Okay, so my bacon deluxes come out, and they are friggin' massive. They're giant. I'm like, holy crap! Everything is 5 times the size. By the way, even the clothes. I was like, I needed to buy a shirt. I got an XL, and I'm swimming in the thing, and I'm like, this is a very different perspective.
Yeah,
so what I'm trying to say is, you're all fat.
Hey, no, hey, whoa. Okay, not all of us.
I'm sorry, Royce. You're not fat. You just maybe you could, just around there a bit. Look, there is an obesity problem, but it faces Australia too. Okay, so
I heard you screaming, "Hey!" I'm like, "Oh god."
My daughter needs. Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
I needed to open the cooking oil for my daughter.
okay.
I did hear that all American bread is like you can't. American bread is so not bread. It's not even sellable in the EU. Like you can't even eat it over there. It's just classified as not food.
Oh, dude,
it's like, if it is, it's classified as cake.
Like, your food is a bit weird. I mean, and look, this is true.
It's not good. It's filled
but
with chemicals.
Look,
it's not weird. It's straight up not good for you. It's not weird. It's straight up not good for you.
I'm just saying, because I'm fat, I have the fat pass, and that's why I can call other people fat. All right, that's just how it works. That's just how it works. All right, and so Royce, just around the chin there a bit, mate. No. See, it's totally unfair. I don't know what Lit Dev. I don't know what Lit Dev looks like. Is a being of shadow, so it's hard for me to comment on.
Well, I lift, bro. I can deadlift 350 pounds, man.
Oof. It's been a long time since I've deadlifted.
You gotta watch out once you pass 30, but once you watch out, it's fine.
Right.
Hey,
and now you're throwing haymakers at me tonight. Oh, once you're 30 years old, fuck off. What is this? Oh, that's right. I'm the kicked puppy. I forgot about that.
Yeah, you are. But also, we're jealous of you, Royce. So it's just...
Now I'm Rihanna. I love the way you lie, Shad.
Man, I said it with a straight face and everything. How does he know these things?
It's like he's psychic.
Yes. All right. Hey, guys, have you seen Joker Fleur de Lou de
No.
Ducks?
Oh, yeah. Are we talking about how awesome it is? Because I'm ready.
Wait, let's talk about it.
Dude, here's my only take on that. After the first one did really well and I saw it, there were people like, oh my God, this movie is so good. And there were a few people who I'm pretty sure are retarded who were like, we need to have a second one. I was like, no, we don't. There doesn't.
We don't. Few people.
We don't need. I'm being nice here. I was like, we don't need a second one. I was like, stop. I was like, we need to stop this perpetual cycle of like if it does good, try to recreate it, because it's not worked historically very well since the 70s. There are a few of them that do better, and those are rare. But I was like, no, we don't need a second one. If they do a second one, it's not going to be the same. They're going to do dumb stuff with it. And I honestly, my conspiracy theory is I think the director purposefully made a bad movie and then said all that dumb because he didn't want to do a second one, but they wouldn't not let him. I think he tanked it on purpose. That's just a theory.
I didn't want a second one either. The first one didn't really need a second one, but because it made so much money, it was inevitable.
So much money.
I even heard that the director wasn't happy with how the first one was liked so much because people were liking it for the wrong thing. Have you heard that rumor?
I've heard the rumor, but again, I think they're throwing crap out there because he wants it to because here's the thing is even he said when he made the first one that he didn't he wanted to tell his own story. He's like, but the only way you can get a movie greenlit in Hollywood when he was doing it is if it's attached to the superhero property.
It's got to have some recognition.
So that was the only way. So he obviously, inspired by like Taxi Driver and like other movies like that. And so he basically just made his own movie and then slapped the Joker title on it and pitched it that way. And that's how he got it greenlit.
See, I don't know, because there are so many integrations of Gotham and the Batman of background in Joker.
He did that. He did that
after the fact, I guess,
just to get it greenlit, so that way he could get his movie. But he is, as far as I know, he's on record with saying that the only way you were going to get a movie done back then was if it had the superhero stuff. because Hollywood just wanted to milk that. And he said he didn't want to make a second one. And I'm, you know, and so I think he's tanking it intentionally so he doesn't have to keep doing superhero crap. I'm going to be honest with you.
Maybe,
Well, he
maybe,
killed
but
the Joker at the end of it. There's definitely not gonna be a third one.
spoilers, by the way. But yes. But yeah, if anyone wants a heads up, we will be spoiling the Joker, even though I'm not sure you really care because no one's bothering to see it. So it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But yeah, we have some things to say about the Joker. Now, on the whole intentional taking thing, okay? Like
It
maybe,
just
but wouldn't that also tank his career and that would be a bad move?
Not necessarily, because he's got a decent pedigree behind him.
I guess.
I mean, he's got a decent pedigree that people like his movies and stuff. And one bad movie where he's just like, yeah, you know what, guys, I missed the mark on that. I'm going to go back to doing these other movies, by the way. You know, not sequels of his other movies, but just, you know, his style. I mean, people historically liked his movies. I mean,
yeah.
So I don't know. And if he's like, yeah, guys, I missed the mark on that, you know, it's just maybe it just wasn't the right thing for me. I'm going to go back to doing other stuff, though. And he, you know, I don't think one bad movie is enough to tank. Well, and we've seen it. We've seen how people will give a lot of leeway.
I don't know. It depends how bad it is. If it like royally, I mean, like catastrophically tanks, that can end people's career. And it's kind of looking like the Joker's doing that. Like this thing is bombing. It is not doing well.
So who are some directors that had, like, they did a movie really good, did a bad one, and it tanked their careers after? Like, let's say they've got like 4 or 5 good movies behind them, did one bad one, and it just tanked them. Do you guys may have more of a knowledge of that? Do you guys have a reference? Like
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah. He was always okay. That guy's always, the people have said he was a lot bad. I watched Alias, okay? J.J. Abrams was never good at storytelling. It just took a lot of people a while.
Hey, don't watch Aliens. Watch the film Nikita instead.
What's the film Nikita?
Oh, it's well, first of all, it started off as a movie by Luc Besson. It's French, and then it got adapted into the American version, which was Point of Return. And then the original one got adapted into a Canadian thing, which I really like that story because it's kind of dark but fun. Called The Film Nikita. And that one's like a TV series ran for like, I don't know how long, it's like 4 or 5 seasons or so like that. And it got canceled, but it was beloved so much it came back because the fans rallied around it and brought it back. But it was pretty good. But it's like Alias, but way better.
All right, very cool. Well,
Also,
J.J.
the
Abrams
of La Femme Nikita went on to make 24. So that's kind of what they did after that.
Okay, man, 24. God, I haven't thought about that in a hot minute.
I've never seen it.
It's
sorry.
Dude, that was big, no, that's fine. It was a big thing in the US for a while.
Yeah, it's on my list that if I ever get around to it, it's like people have a good report of it. Okay, so J.J. Abrams. Yeah, I don't think it was ever a particularly good storytelling, and that whole mystery box bullcrap is just annoying to me. Like, I got pissed off with Lost after, I think, the 2nd season when it became very clear that it's like, oh, they're just going to keep doing a mystery. The answer to the mystery is another mystery. I'm like, piss off. I'm not going to let you manipulate me like that. And yeah, like, so I checked out on that.
What sucked so bad about Alias is like, yeah, there was the mystery box stuff, but it was always stuff that was kind of like adding up. And you're like, oh, this is going to be huge. And then at the end, you're like, well,
the answer is nothing.
The answer is
absolutely
nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it's like, what? Like, it was the dumbest ending to a show that I have ever seen. And I remember watching part of it with my parents when I was a kid. And then as an adult, I was laying in bed with 103.5 fever for 4 days. I was not doing well. And I was like, I'm going to turn on Alias. And I had fever dreams about horrible crap happening and being like waterboarded. And I'm like, I'm not watching. I can't watch this show while I'm sick anymore.
All right. So if Joker tanks, is it Todd Phillips is the director, his career? We're yet to be seen. But what most people can agree on is that it is a bad movie.
I loved it.
You loved it?
Yeah, I spent 2 hours on Chris Gore's channel defending it yesterday.
All right, defend it now. What do you love about it, Latif?
Oh, what do you hate about it?
boring as hell with no
Okay, that's
real strong payoff.
if you're not there, if
And
you're not there in the right mindset, I guess. Yeah, it is. It's because it's very slow. It's a slow burn. It's like the
very
kind of like the
slow.
first one was.
I found all the music pointless and a complete distraction, which
That
just
was the real
lengthened
drag.
out a painy. Yeah, and to me, it just lengthened out a painfully long show already.
And I was
And
excited about it. I was excited about it being a musical because I love musicals. Because I mean, with
Yeah.
they dragged on. I didn't know. I missed a lot because I didn't know the songs because they were like from the 70s or something. I didn't catch those. So it's like to me, it's just okay. They reflected Arthur Fleck's change of emotion, and that's about it. Some of them were pretty good. But some of them, like a very few of them, pretty good. Like the one where she Harley Quinn sings to him, while she's visiting him, as that kind of thing. It's very few of them are really good. I was like, what's happening? Why is it lasting so long? It's like, come on, musical number, and they're so frequent too, which try to make it drag. And I was like, okay, well, if you want to watch a real Joker musical movie, just watch Sweeney Todd. It's way better.
Yeah. All right. So at the moment, if you're not defending it, you're supporting me. So why is it good?
Was that a perfect movie? I said it's the first one is better. I like the second one, but the first one is
100%.
better, way better.
Okay.
All
right. So you might because interestingly enough, I think the first one is actually very very well made, good film, and I didn't like the first one. I don't like this one either. I just don't like either of them because I thought, the first one, I just have I don't like villain origin stories. Generally, but I'll tell you what, I'm liking the friggin' Penguin now. But they do such a good job with the Penguin in making him multi-layered and having him somewhat have interesting, like positive sides to him as to what his motivations are.
He's also literally multi-layered because he's in a fat suit.
Oh, well, there's that as well. But for the joke of the first one, I found it just really depressing and a downer. It was just like, this poor guy falling into insanity and becoming a mass murderer. It's like, there's not a lot for me to root for there, but it was very well made.
Well, there was a lot of to me. There's a lot of. I'm not saying that this is what it's saying, but there's a lot of parallels to me with the plight of the modern man in modern day American society, because like he goes through everything. It's just more exaggerated. It's just what happens if you're a man with troubles. Who cares? Like they leave you behind. They get stop your education. You're the first to be axed if they need to have a budget cut. When you have mental health issues, you're a man. No one cares. With the same with Arthur Fleck. You have you got hit, robbed, and your sign taken, and you get blamed. No one cares what happened. You get blamed for it. It comes out of your paycheck. And you try to make a kid's smile. Remember, like he went on the bus and tried to make a kid smile. All he was doing didn't even touch the kid. He's just trying to make him smile. And the mom's like, "Would you leave my kid alone?" And like he's a creep. It's a modern plight for the modern man. You have to, as a modern man, you have to be conscious about how creepy you might come off. So like you might be like minding your own business at the beach, and all these women in bikinis might be around you. Do you look at them? No, because you'll be driven off by the people at the beach with torturing people. How dare you look at them? However, if you're a woman, you can gawk all you want. You can ogle all you want.
Or if you're a really good-looking guy, it's a compliment.
Oh yeah, you can get away with it. Arthur Fleck, unfortunately, is not the.
Yeah, he's not a good-looking guy. See,
So
I agree. All those commentaries, I completely agree with. That's why I think it's a really well-made film.
That was kind of the point of it too. Like I said, if is it Todd Phillips? You said it because I'm bad.
I think it's.
I'm bad with names, but no. But he even said he the only way to get it lit was to slap the Joker title on it. So I have watched that movie. I've never watched that movie. Once I acquired that information from the internet, that as it was a Joker film. I've watched that film as more of just the plight of a man, like what they would have told back in the 80s when they were trying to make movies like that without the superhero title. And when you remove the DC side of it from it, you go, oh wow, this is just a really good movie. And that's what people focused on. And I think them trying to force him into doing another one when he already has made it apparent that he doesn't want to do the superhero movies. I think he was looking for an out in the second one. And like I said, the first one is so freaking good.
I've heard a comment by him recently is like he's done in the superhero universe. I'm like, bro, you never were in the superhero universe.
Yeah.
But see, that's what I'm saying though. Like he didn't want to do it. He just did it because he wanted his movie to get greenlit so he could make it. And it just so happens that he made this mid-budget film for $50 million, and it grossed over $1 billion. And everybody was like, what the hell? But the thing, it never would have gotten greenlit. And I think had it not had the Joker title on it, it probably wouldn't have drawn as many eyes as it did. But it's not a Joker story. It's not. It is. He slapped that on there so that way the studios would let him make his movie. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I kind of respect the balls on that. You know, I do.
I don't know.
Do what you gotta do to get your movie made. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I kind of respect it.
The thing is, I'm getting pissed off with so many directors and writers and stuff who hate superhero content making superhero content. Like, shouldn't the bare minimum in making one of these things be that you like the source material?
The only exception I would have with that was Garth Ennis when he made The Boys originally, the comic book. But the thing is, he was mean spirited in that. But it was like you could, if you've ever read The Boys, you could just tell this is him. His letting out his inner edgy teenage boy, he's having fun with it, and it's his own property, it's his own stuff.
Exactly.
It's just he's having fun. You know,
if it's making something up, go to town, okay? And you
the show is cringe.
You can spoof and parody and everything. My criticism is when you're adapting an existing property that people love, and you come into it with spite and resent and dislike of it. You do not deserve to be freaking working on it.
But
Get stuffed.
I don't think that he came in to hit the first Joker movie with spite and resentment. That's the thing.
He doesn't like superhero movies.
But he didn't want to make a superhero movie. He just put the name on it. So he was going to make the movie he was going to make regardless. I think he just had to slap the title to it. But I don't think he was spiteful and resentful toward. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Probably not as much as what I'm pushing it to. The people in my mind that I'm really thinking of when I say that are the creators of The Witcher. Okay?
Oh God,
The Witcher TV Netflix show where there's clear spite and resent to the source material. I do think there probably is some elements to it there with Todd Phillips, but probably not as nearly as much as other examples. Now, as to the Joker, looking at the first one versus the second one. To me, there is a big distinction which affects the, I guess, overall quality and enjoyment of this show. And I just realized something. I'm using a new camera. I'll get back to my point. I'm using my DSL camera, but I think because it's going through a DSL and through the computer, my video is slightly delayed to my audio.
Okay, I know.
Is that what it is?
It's like a half second. Yeah.
Half a second. I might need to switch back.
I was like, is this an internet thing?
No. This is because I've been recording with my DSL camera on screen capture in my recent videos, and I've had to resync the audio. And I remember thinking, hey, it's a better quality. I could use it in live streams. And then back then it's like, no, the desync. And then I forgot about the desync, and I'm using it now, and it's all. I'm like, ready? I'll say, but yeah, see, it's completely out,
dude.
But anyway,
you can do an old school dubbed like Japanese film.
What? Oh, look, it's Godzilla.
Just like half a second.
Hey, Senior Jessica for 199 says, I hate Shadow the Conqueror. I can adapt it. Exactly.
I can do it better. I can fix the wrongs of the anime.
We have the power.
Thank you, Senior Jessica. So going back to my point, right? In terms of the big difference between the Joker and the sequel. Man, sorry, gas. Is then the first one, there is a strong payoff with a guy that's downtrodden just fighting back, okay? And look, it's not a good way to fight back, but there is a sense of empowerment in him, just like, you guys all suck, stuff ya. I'm going to be pushing back and try and take control of my life in the worst possible way, and is driven to that. But there is a sense of, okay, he is a much stronger character when he is, becoming the Joker. Where in the sequel, it's deconstructing all of that. Every payoff that it builds to in the first film is shredded and stripped away in the second film. In what is the most categorical, full deconstructions I think I've ever seen, where its whole purpose is to undo what the first film achieves. It's like, what are you doing? Like that just ruins the first film.
He's trying to make them not offer him more money to do another one. He's just like,
Well, I mean, he's not going to do another one. He can't.
Good. I mean,
But
no,
the,
but
the development of the Joker is kind of interesting in we compare the two movies together, because the first one, it's so powerful and you could feel it so well because it follows the rules of storytelling. It's you begin with a promise, you know, it's him ramping up, and then boom, he becomes a Joker, shoots Murray on live TV. All this crazy nonsense happens.
That was
he becomes
a wild scene.
Blooms in the Joker. That's kind of what happens at the end. So you get that emotional payoff, you get the catharsis. Now, what happens in the second, why people feel so let down, is because it builds up and then fizzles out at the end with the Joker, the mainstay Joker storyline. Now, but the reason why I like it is because it has two character arcs in there going simultaneously. It's the one for the first one. That's the one everyone sees when they go into the movie, which is okay. He's going to go mad again. Harley Quinn's the dark feminine force coming in there to drag the Joker out of him. And then that's kind of what's been happening all the way up. And then he goes, boom, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. So, and then you see the bottom, you see the other character arc, which is Arthur Fleck, like kind of coming to terms with the fact that this is not what he wants. And that's kind of further emphasized by the fact that his followers, the anarchist people, are really pushing for the burning of society. And he comes to terms with the fact that he can't do this. He can't be that guy. He's not actually a psychotic murderer, despite what happened in the first one. If you look at the first one, every single murder he commits is personal to him. He's not a Joker style, I'm going to gas everybody. Ha, 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 ha. He kills the three guys in the subway because they were beating him. And he was pretty much self-defense. The last guy he kills kind of iffy because he kind of chased him down. But really, they were beating him. And the
last guy he kills was live on television.
No, the third and the three.
Let's talk about the three on the subway.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. You're talking about the first. Okay, yeah, my bad.
The first three were kind of self-defense. I'll just put in the category of self-defense. The next one was the bully that bullied him, that gave him the gun, and then said, no, it's all his fault. It's all Arthur's fault. It was him who had the gun. So that guy was the bully, killed him. Spared Gary Puddles, because he was nice to him. He was nice to him. They were kind of friends, the only kind of the most outcast at the shop, so he just let him go despite the consequences. And then he killed his mother for betraying him, saying that you're Thomas Wayne's son. You might insinuate you're Thomas Wayne's son. Thomas Wayne knows us, loves us. When he was adopted, and she was lying and was a crazy person and abused, and she allowed this horrendous abuse, critical trauma to the head, all this stuff. So she betrayed him all his life, so he murdered her. And then Murray, the last one on national TV, he killed him because he gave Arthur Fleck the same sense of betrayal. Murray,
he mocked him on live TV, and
but for even more than that, Murray was like a stand-in father figure for him. That's how Arthur Fleck saw him. There's even a fantasy episode in the beginning of the movie, towards the beginning, where he's like he has a fantasy of like him clapping, I love you, Murray, and the Murray says, come on down, and Murray takes him aside and says, man, I'll give up all the stuff if I just could have a son like you. So Arthur Fleck saw Murray as a father figure, and then the reality kind of broke that when he actually met the guy, and he's like, boom, you're dead. You're just dead. And so all those murders in the first one, personal to him. So if you think about it, Arthur Fleck is not this psychotic, psycho murdering Joker, and he never was that guy.
What about at the very end where he embraces the whole thing, where he's like laughing at the burning, and is in the taxi, and he just kind of happy that
actually happened.
That's also in the second movie.
I don't know. So the one question that I've always had for the first movie is, okay, some of it was real, but which parts were real because of how it was directed? And because they let you know,
the second movie kind of confirms it's all real, except maybe the very, very ending.
Oh, really? Okay, so so I'm coming. Okay, so yeah, so
he runs away. I think they capture him. It's kind of his thing.
I think at the end of it, I think at the end of it, when he's like standing on the car and he's like kind of embracing the chaos. I mean, if it is all real, I mean, if I had to guess,
I think that was real.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
even if you assume it was real, here's the thing about what we would see objectively in the movie. Here's what we see. We're given see the movie gives you pieces. I just put them together. We can see objectively in the movie is what does Arthur want from the very beginning? He wants love. He wants affection to the point where he had this fantasy romance that he thought was real with this lady. He thought was real. He imagines Murray loving him, giving him affection as a father figure. This continues on at the second one, where we learn that he like this fantasy that he had with his girl in the first one. He's had that a lot of times. He's done it several times. It's the women he would have fantasies with. And the thing is, the whole adoration, the whole thing where he kind of seems to embrace the Joker persona, it's in the second movie too. When he's going out, he's doing like the Nixon thing. He's like being embraced by his fans when he's in the courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
He loves the adoration, but he's not the guy to lead this revolution. Like he wants the adoration, but he doesn't want the responsibility that the adoration comes with. And so
I get what you're saying, and you raise a good point in that he's not the right guy. I feel it could have gone either way and be perfectly justified with the backstory that they've presented. And the audience was expecting him to be the Joker and embrace that thing.
Absolutely.
And that would also be a vastly more entertaining film.
Yes, absolutely. I don't even blame you for being disappointed, because the second movie made that promise to you. It made that promise that you're going to get the Joker again, and then it did not deliver that promise. So it's not only do I not blame you for feeling disappointed, the writers intentionally did that, and we objectively see this because pretty much right before that happened, where he gives up and says, "I'm not that guy," we get the fantasy of what we want. We get him going around shooting everybody and bashing the judge in the head with his own gavel. We get that. And then he comes back to his sanity, and then he's like, "I can't do it." But the turning point is during his confrontation with Gary Puddles, and it's really well set up, because they bring in Gary Puddles, and he's walking down the aisle, and what happens? Everyone laughs at him. He's a freak. His people laugh at him. Society is not so kind either. So the movie is also portraying the society that Joker fought in the first movie. It's still the same thing. It's still the same dour, cold society that just laughs in your face because they find you funny for no reason at all. And then he tries to. So Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, kind of Arthur Fleck, kind of puts on this persona. Just the southern lawyer voice. Is that your real name, Mr. Puddles? And he's trying to put on this persona. It's goofy. He has no defense. He has no like clever thing to put on the table. No, nothing like that. So he's trying to do you're Gary Puddles.
That was one of the few points in the film I actually liked, and it's when he was being the Joker, because it's like he was doing the southern voice, and then it would break, and it's like, "That's really your name, Puddles?"
Really?
Really? That was actually entertaining.
Yeah, it was fun. Like we was being the Joker, because being the Joker is fun.
Yes.
But then he had that conversation with Gary Puddles, and he's like, "No more questions, Your Honor." And then Gary Puddles comes in when he says, You know what that feels like, Arthur? You made me feel so small," which is really funny for him to say. But then he continues it by saying, "You're the only one." It's like this voice is shaking, cracking. You can hear the emotion and the fear. You're the only one who didn't make fun of me, Arthur. You know how this feels, this idea that you were my only friend, and this is you now, this monster. And right after that, Arthur Fleck breaks. He's like, "I said no more questions, Your Honor." Like he repeats it. And you can hear the voice break, his voice crack. And then after that, he has to confront the guards, and the guards tear him down. They wipe away his face paint. They undress him. They put him
rape him.
Well, I don't know if he's been raped. That's my controversial take. I don't think there's any rape happening.
It's funny. I didn't pick up on it in my first watching.
Yeah, a rape scene.
When it's pointed out that they're doing up their belt afterwards and stuff like that, is like,
I didn't see that part at all. I didn't see the part where they're doing up their belts. See, in a movie like that, you think they would show it. We had rape scenes in movies before. You think they would show it for emphasis, and especially in a movie like this. But regardless of whether what happens or not, what the scene is trying to do is take away his confidence, because the Joker towards Arthur Fleck, what the Joker represents is his confidence. Because also that kind of really goes really well with a parallel towards mankind. Because what happens when we are anything else but apathetic and compliant? We're deemed insane. We're deemed misogynist. Oh, you have passion for something? Well, you must be autistic. You must be. You must have Asperger's. You like this thing a lot? Well, you must be a man baby. So to me, that's what the Joker represents. The moment that Arthur Fleck gains confidence, he's deemed to be mad because he's a man. But anyway, the that's a really good turning point, because not only did was he broken down and shattered by Gary Puddles' like outcry, like you're my only friend, Arthur, but also he was given medication. You could tell because his eyes were dilated, and he could do nothing while his only friend during the Joker 2 movie, was murdered by the guards. He had to sit there and listen to it the way he made Gary Puddles sit there and listen to him murder Randall from the first movie. So he felt the same thing, and I think that's where the turning point really was, because it was hit home. This is what I'm doing. This is what the fear in my friend Gary Puddles is something I placed there, and this is the chaos and fear. Do I really want that? And the next day, he comes out prepared to make this big speech, and he's like, you know what? I'm not that guy. And really, Arthur Fleck never was.
You know, you actually raise a really compelling argument for the consistency of his arc. Okay, I still think it's bad because of the execution for a number of reasons. The way that I have always judged media, and I've had really good debates with Mauler on this, and they've been productive and fun. And even if we disagree at the end of the day, right, is that I believe that there is an implicit kind of promise in media. And look who's here! It's Mike, and he's looking really confused.
Is there a time change I didn't know about?
Yeah, it's
Look,
Australian daylight savings time.
Australian daylight savings time.
It's my fault, Mike. I didn't realize. Sorry, mate.
We didn't know until we were here either.
I totally caught that. Like, I just switched over the clock and I didn't realize that the world doesn't. So I was like, it's normal business as usual for me. But so yeah. By the way, I will finish my point, chat. But we have Mike here now. Is it better or worse for you, an hour earlier or the regular time? Because I can start later. That's fine.
The regular time, I think, is. Well, I mean, as long as I know what's happening, Shad, generally that's
yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean that's the best time, is the time that I know it's happening.
Yeah,
I know. Look, I own it. I did give everyone 45 minutes warning.
It's true, he did. I saw this.
Yeah, but you didn't mention that. You always give us warning.
Yeah.
Usually a warning comes with, hey, we're starting in 45
I did. I said,
He
we're
said
starting
that.
at
He said
45
that.
minutes.
He said that. He's like,
Have a
hey,
look.
yeah. He said that.
We'll be starting at. Oh, you said exactly that. How strange.
Aha!
Yeah, he said exactly that.
All I saw was that I'll be there soon. I've been so busy. I was doing a video recording for my next. I'm doing the Venomizing Warhammer 40K, and I was like sitting here waiting for it to upload so I could upload it, so it'd be ready in time before this show started.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, we've been live for almost 45 minutes.
I noticed that. Oddly
Yeah.
enough.
I know. Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, strange.
Yeah,
Strange time to be.
Look, it's my fault. But look, you guys are going to switch over on your daylight savings, which is going to throw me out again. So
Right, but we'll know.
you'll know.
All three of us will know, so at least one of
all
us will
three.
say something.
Yeah.
We shouldn't
Yeah.
say a thing. We shouldn't say anything.
All right.
Are you ready, Shad? Let's go.
I'm ready, because this brings up an actual really intriguing, I guess, discussion, even debate on what standard you should judge media by to gauge if it's good or bad. Because
Be right back, guys.
I actually don't think the consistency and even quality of the writing is the only primary metric you should judge it by. I think one of the primary metrics you should judge all media by is its purpose. Every single bit of media that you make will have a implicit promise based on the genre it's in, the audience expectation, and also the previous works of it as well. And so, if I go in to watch a Jackie Chan movie, there's a couple of expectations that and I'm talking about old school Jackie Chan, right? A couple of expectations that I'm expecting this film to reach for me to be satisfied. And I'm expecting kick-ass choreography, action fight scene. Interestingly enough, quality of story and acting, I don't have that expectation. It would improve it again if it was in it, but I'm not expecting it as much as
Jackie Chan's movies from China are like pure story. He's a totally different guy in China.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, he's totally different. And his politics are awful, Jackie Chan, by the way. He's full on communist, this dude. But he can make some freaking great fight scene choreography. Okay. And so the discussion I had this with the Mauler and the guys, right, was actually about the Marvel Spider-Man ones, because I liked the first one. Is it what Homecoming, or which because there's No Way Home, Homecoming.
Homecoming would be first.
Homecoming's the first one. I enjoyed the first one, did not like the second one, and did not like the third one. And my reasoning behind it is that I think they actually fundamentally betray what Spider-Man is in a lot of instances in those films. And when you and my analogy has always been like, if you go into a restaurant and you order spaghetti bolognese and they serve you something that you did not order or expect, it doesn't matter how good it is. If you're in the mood for spaghetti bolognese, you're going to be pissed off because it's not satisfying what you want. And so you can extend this analogy to many different examples. Star Wars. You go on to watch a Star Wars movie, right? And you're expecting the themes and the style of Star Wars, laser swords, war in space, Jedi's potentially, and even if not Jedi's, the themes of Star Wars and stuff like that. And you go in and imagine if it was a rom-com Pride and Prejudice thing the whole way through. No action, nothing. And it was just based on in Coruscant with a love story. And you weren't told that that's what it was or anything. You would be pissed. Doesn't matter how good it was, you'd be pissed. Okay. And so for me, I think Joker, the sequel, but does that in some big ways, because there's the implicit promise that you're kind of expecting a Joker film. Okay. And you're kind of expecting, certain things to happen when it turns out the whole film was to just deconstruct and kind of take a dump on the idea, ultimately killing him off in the end. We're talking about the Joker, by the way, Mac. Have you seen it?
Spoilers, no. But I'm really interested in hearing Lit Dev, because he's the only person I've heard say he loved this movie. And
yes, I know. You missed it because Lit Dev has already explained the logic, and it's a good argument. It's a good argument for the consistency, but I think they fail in the execution for just one of the reasons I mentioned there. It's a complete subversion of what you're expecting. It doesn't fulfill the promise of what they're supposed to be. It's not a good Joker film in that sense for me. And at the same time, I think they muddy up this character arc by a much poorer execution and just how interesting it is overall, because it's so long and boring, and those musical
very
numbers
slow
are just
burn,
massive distraction. And you really only see the real Joker in this film maybe once when he's in the courtroom, and maybe in a couple of the dream sequences. And you don't get much of the Joker, which is what you're expecting. And so therefore, what you ordered isn't delivered. And so that's going to be very unsatisfying. And then on top of that, they fully deconstruct him and destroy the idea of what that character is in the end. So,
I just personally, I just think they maintain consistency. It's just that we wanted the Joker, but it was consistent with what the first movie wanted to do, which was he fights society. It's just that in the first movie, if he's fighting society, that he's fighting the establishment society. Second movie, he has two antagonists: the establishment and the other side of society, which is like the anarchist people, the people who want to rise up. He's an Arthur Fleck caught in the middle. On the one side, he is a monster. He's a demon. He's a guy who needs help. He's a creep. Whatever. He's demonized by establishment society, and he wants to rise up against it. But then on the other side, he's given too much agency, too much worship, and he's like, no, I don't want. It's just too much. It's his wants taken to an extent that he does not want or feel comfortable with, because we know that he has a conscience because of what happens with Gary Puddles. Gary Puddles is the key to all this, like Jar Jar Binks. But also,
did you find the movie entertaining, Lit Dev?
Absolutely,
I really did. Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Except for the musical parts.
See, that is interesting, because I guess it satisfies some of your expectations in that sense to achieve that. Like, I guess if that's its goal, to achieve that, and because again, it goes back to kind of that philosophy thing that I was explaining about what is the purpose of the film. And I think one of the main purposes of most films is to be entertaining, and I think it's failing on that for most people. Like most people are finding it boring.
Well, here's the thing. Hirohiko Araki wrote a book. He's the guy that made JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He wrote a book, and he explains that every art is composed of 4 parts, which is theme, character, story, and setting. And one of the things that he that's interesting is that ideally they'd all be balanced, but he also found the fact that some stories, some movies, whatever, are beloved by fans that don't actually they're not in balance, but they do one of those things really, really well. And so this might be one of those movies where you might not like the story, the characters, I don't know, the setting is kind of boring because it's just like a prison. But the themes, you might really, they did the themes really well. You might really enjoy the themes.
And I agree with what you're saying here because, yeah, I see that in a lot with how people judge media as well, where if something does one thing really, really well and they love that one thing, they can enjoy the film in spite of it being bad in nearly every other thing. And that's how I'm able.
I like all 4 John Wick movies. So.
well, that's how I'm able to like some movies that I know are really bad. Hey, Royce, you're completely muted. We can't hear you at all.
Sorry, that was my hard mute button. No, I was just saying the John Wick movies, the choreography is so good.
I mean, I lost interest in them. I didn't even finish the last one because at the end, there was a lot of action with very little thing to be invested behind it for me.
They lost me at the end of the third one.
It became too comically like fake in terms of the.
Yeah, I didn't like the third one. I would rank them: the first one, the fourth one, the second one, the third one.
See, I love the first one. I haven't
seen the fourth one yet, so I can't comment on that.
Yeah,
one.
the first one's better than.
Than them all. Yeah. To me, like there are some bad movies that I know are bad that I love. And one of them is the Musketeers, the Orlando Bloom Musketeers film.
Yeah, we had this conversation last week.
I love that film.
I did like that one all that much.
I'd like to throw in something contrary here a little bit. I know you were talking about, you can watch a movie that falls flat on a number of different facets as long as it's got that one core thing that you think is really fun and you want to watch. But I would rather watch Kung Fu Hustle than any Jackie Chan film because Kung Fu Hustle is a perfect film. It hits on every note, right?
I love Kung Fu Hustle. I haven't rewatched it with a critical eye to see if there are some, but it's meant to be a spoof and a comedy and stuff. Kung Fu Hustle,
right? But it hits on that. It hits on the acting. It hits on the story. It hits on it tugs your heartstrings. The action is freaking phenomenal.
I haven't seen that movie in
It is the perfect film. There's a handful of perfect films. I think Kung Fu Hustle is one of those. See, I'd rather watch the film where you take the Kung Fu stuff and you still have all the other aspects. It just makes it such a better.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying with the Jackie Chan ones. The Jackie Chan movies would be improved by better acting and better story, right? But I don't need it because there is an expectation, and as long as that is fulfilled, I'm going to be satisfied and I'll enjoy it. And like with the Musketeers, I just love the choreography. It's dumb, but it's flashy. It's like a fun dance. There's hammy overacting, which I think is just enjoyable as well. And they don't. It's one of those movies where they don't care. They're just gonna have fun with it, and it's easy to just go along with it, and enjoy it as a result.
It's why people love like Escape from New York and Escape from LA.
I'm sorry. Escape from LA is the worst freaking thing ever put on.
I don't care. I'm not saying they're not bad, but there's a reason that people like them. And Escape from LA was definitely worse than Escape from New York. But again, it's what's that? What is that movie? It had John Travolta as the alien.
The Mormon movie.
I don't remember, the Earth or something Earth.
Battlefield Earth. Battlefield Earth.
Well,
it's a Mormon movie.
That one.
Why is that the
L.
Mormon
Ron
movie?
Hubbard movie, dude?
It's not a Mormon.
That's Scientology.
What are you talking about?
I was gonna say,
I'm insulted.
I apologize.
Dude, but
how dare you lump
the Mormons
Mormons in with Scientologists?
Mormons make much better
How different they are.
Battle-
like Scientologists. What is this?
I mean, a little bit, but anyway.
My God,
Unlimited options for renewal. Unlimited options
Royce,
for
don't
renewal.
you even friggin'
You
go
called me
there.
fat earlier. Fuck off.
Friggin' Elrod. Like, what, and what pisses
I mean, he
me off
sounds
even
like
more,
a Mormon, right? L. Ron
no,
Hubbard.
it
That's
does,
a
it does
very
sound
wait,
like
Mormon
a
wait,
name, it
no,
does.
what pisses me off even more, Mormons have some of the most celebrated literary authors of all time. We've friggin' got Orson Scott Card, Tracy Hickman from Dragonlance, Brandon Sanderson, Mistborn, and everything like that. And then we have a whole range of additional ones, which might not be as celebrated, but we got the Maze Runner trilogy, the creator of Battlestar Galactica. Mormons, there's actually a weird thing. We are oddly overrepresented in the writing field.
in
Like
science
we
fiction, fantasy in particular,
yeah, science fiction, fantasy in
because
particular.
religion's fantasy.
So what you're
Yeah,
saying is
good-
it's
good-
not
good
the
try,
Jews,
Mike,
it's
good
actually
try.
the Mormons.
Because the problem is, as soon as you try and use that attack, it applies to every religious person anyway. So don't shoot yourself with your own gun there. Mate.
Scientology is science fiction, so it's, someone's got to have fantasy.
Anyway, Battlefield Earth. I hate that I love that movie, but it is so freaking
I've
dumb.
never watched it, but I watched
It's-
somebody do an
it's-
EFAP of it. That
Oh,
was the
dude.
funniest freaking thing
Dude,
ever.
it is so bad. And you know that Travolta was there just for I think because it was a Scientology movie. I think he actually took a pay cut on that one. It is just not good, but I don't care. I love that movie.
Tom Cruise should have been in that.
Right? Yeah, right. Oh, dude, immediately that he would have made that movie so much better. So much better. But yeah, no, it's not a good like that. Like obviously, and I might catch some haymakers for this one, but like Starsky and Hutch, or not Starsky and Hutch, Tango and Cash. Damn it, my bad. Tango and Cash. You guys remember Tango and Cash? Kurt Russell, Sylvester Stallone.
I also remember Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah,
I'm that old.
I don't know why I say Starsky and Hutch for some stupid reason. I've never seen Starsky and Hutch. For some reason it comes out of my mouth.
But
Okay,
you're
no,
probably
so-
thinking of the movie, not the TV show.
Oh
right?
yeah. They did that. That movie was not good. Although I thought it was hilarious that they had Snoop Dogg as a pimp. It was kind of funny. But there are bad things out there that you can say. But like if it fires off on these cylinders for whatever reason, even if one of those is like camp, even if it's just campy and you're just like, all right.
But they were unintentionally campy. in
Well,
Battlefield.
that's oh dude, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's
So,
it's not
unironically
good.
campy.
I love it. And I don't love a lot of movies like that. Most of them like this is garbage, but oh god. I have my few.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. So bringing it back to the Joker, Lit Dev, do you think the Joker is well made in the sense that it could appeal to a large audience, or it fails at that?
General audience? No, it's not. It's not going to be able. It's not a general audience kind of movie.
Now, because then when we look at I guess. I'm not even sure the first Joker is a general audience kind of film, but it must have reached that because it was so
the reason
popular.
the reason why the first Joker worked so well and resonated with a lot of people is because it followed the formula. It began with this guy who's down on his luck, and it grew. It had the rising action all the way to the climax, which was the Joker shooting Murray on stage. It was structurally well done. It was structurally relatable to everyone. Everyone could buy in. Second one, it doesn't do that. Second one,
that's why I think I think that's why it's a bad film. I think structurally, it's so boring and a slog, and those musical numbers are so badly placed that
unfortunately,
that's what qualifies it as a bad film in my mind. Even if and I actually kind of agree, you have some good arguments about some of the consistency in the narrative in terms of Arthur Fleck's thing, his progression and arc, but because his arc is not an enjoyable arc and it ends with kind of a betrayal of what the audience is wanting, even if it's well done, it qualifies as bad because it is not giving what the audience is expecting, what was kind of implicitly promised with what this film was meant to be.
I give you a different ending. So what also happened with Arthur Fleck is that he's a villain, and what I mean by that is he fails his temptation test, which is just Harley Quinn. But the thing is, he falls for it. If he had kept his lawyer, he probably would have gotten away. He would have been guilty, obviously, but he would have been put inside like a hospital room. So sent to a hospital, and he would have lived. But unfortunately, Harley Quinn came in as what Jordan Peterson would call the dark feminine, and she is
The
the
dark feminine.
dark feminine force.
I think the
So
film
great.
deserves credit for not pulling its punctures with how toxic and corruptive Harley Quinn is.
She
in this
was
film.
conniving
is-
and evil.
Mhm.
She was
Yes.
right there. She knew, and unfortunately for Arthur Fleck, not only was he vulnerable to her seduction, he was uniquely helpless against it. Because that was his greatest weakness, is a thirst for affection. He was
He's
thirsty
never had a
for-
relationship at all.
never had any kind of
So they built
kindness in
that
his
up
life.
off of the first movie.
Yeah, it was built upon the first movie. That's why I think I like the movie for one of the, that's
And-
one of the reasons.
Like with all the issues I have with the music and stuff like that, I think they did an all right job with Harlequin into the sense that she's this corruptive influence and she's a total fangirl. Okay.
Absolutely, she's insane. She's the dark manic pixie dream girl. She's a temptress. She does exactly what a temptress does. She gives the main character everything he wants, basically without working for it and for free. And so he falls for it easily because he's Arthur Fleck, and it's very unfortunate. But what happens is that he follows her down this dark path to the point where he fires his lawyer. And at that point, there's no turning back. At that point, he's crossed the moral event horizon. And so he's done. But eventually, as I said before, with Garrett, the moment with Gary Puddles where he says, "I'm done with this," that's when he recognizes this is the path I don't want to walk down. But he recognizes it too late. So he has damned himself, and he loses Harley Quinn and all of the respect of a lot of his followers, because he rightfully rejects this dark road, but he does so too late. And that's why at the end he ends up with nothing, and not even his life.
So Joker is the victim in this show?
Yeah, I mean that's subjectively what happens. He's the victim.
I mean,
of
he
Harley
was the
Quinn.
victim in the first one too.
Yeah, he just kind of a victim that kind of lashed out finally.
Yeah.
Within this one, he's very much the victim of Harley Quinn, her manipulations, and she plays him like a fiddle. And very unfortunate.
And one of the things that
Starting
I
to
think the
Lit
show
Dev is just
doesn't
talking about his
do,
kinks at this point,
because like in terms of getting one part of Harley Quinn right, I think they also get another side completely wrong, which is in the comic books, Joker is wholly abusive to Harlequin, and she takes it because she is
It's
such
reversed.
a fangirl. Like, and they actually do that in the Batman animated series perfectly, where he will push
that's what she was
Harlequin.
created for.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
She was the mall character.
Mhm. And he would push her in front of the police and run and get away, and she would get arrested instead, and always come crawling back, and he would treat her like dirt, right? But there was none of that in this film. He was.
Well, it's because this Joker, Arthur Fleck Joker, is different from every other Joker because he's not in control. He's not the mastermind. Because every other, like Heath Ledger, Joker from the Batman animated series, even Cesar Romero, these are all Jokers who are in control of their chaos. Arthur Fleck is none of that. Yeah, does chaos happen? Yeah, but it happens by standalone complex, where it's just like it feels like a plan, but it's just random people acting on their own in the shape of a plan. So it looks like one.
Can I pause that for just a second and ask if you guys are watching The Penguin?
Oh hell
I'm
yeah,
not-
loving
not
it.
yet.
We'll talk about the Penguin in a
It's on
second.
Max, isn't it?
Okay, no, because
Yeah.
you saying that he'd push Harley in front of the thing to get away, that just reminded me of the last,
Yeah,
the last
about
episode of Penguin.
something that happened recently.
But speaking of how devoted Harley is to Joker, there's one part that happens. I think "Death of the Family" by Scott Snyder. See, I think "Death of the Family" or "Death in the Family," one of those. Where Joker has his face cut off, right? And he goes to Harley, and she's like, he's implying that he wants her to cut off her face too, and she's like, only like she's okay with it as long as the Joker still loves her. So she would totally slice off her face for the Joker. So it's like, wow, that's dedication.
She's that insanely obsessed with him. And I'd say again why I think in what you're talking about before about Arthur Fleck not being in control and stuff like that, I think this is another reason the movie fails so much. The film is all about Arthur Fleck, not about the Joker. Where the previous one was about Arthur Fleck becoming the Joker, and the Joker being such a powerful agent of chaos that Joker is evil, yet he is dynamic and interesting to watch. This is why he's the biggest villain I think ever made.
Even Arthur
really.
Fleck Joker is dynamic and is interesting to watch.
Yeah, right. But this film isn't a Joker film; it's an Arthur Fleck film, and Arthur is a boring, depressing character, which just makes for an unenjoyable experience overall in the end. And I think it's failing a big way because of that.
I was trying to be magnanimous, Royce.
What are you guys talking about?
Nothing. What are
Nothing.
you talking about?
In the chat.
All right. So good discussion on the Joker. Let's what?
Nothing. I like what Litdev is saying. It's definitely different than everything else I'm hearing, which is cool. And it's like, no, he breaks it. So there is a good movie in there that's cut up by bad scenes, it sounds like.
Yeah,
maybe bad scenes and a bad ending. Would that be a way
Well,
to kind of
look? The biggest
describe-
crime for me is that it's boring. I like if it
Boring or slow burn? There's a
well,
difference.
it's both, but I think it's both. It's a 2.5 hours or more. Like I was looking at my watch, thinking, "Holy crap, it's still going!" And there's so
I was
much.
gonna say because there are movies out there that can be a slow burn that are very.
Oh
very
yeah, Dune. How long was Dune?
I love
6
the new
hours,
Dune
I
movie.
think.
Because I was
6
engaged.
hours, I think.
Like Dune Part 2, I was hooked the entire time. I did. I get it.
It was so good. At least
yeah,
I liked it a lot.
The time length.
I just hated the
you know,
way
wasn't even
the bitch face Zendaya at the end. I was like, I could have done without that. Just clip that last 30 seconds off.
I'm getting
and
like,
we're good.
why it feels like she was put in so much and miscast, and I'm still pissed off that they cast her as Mary Jane. You know, she's not Mary Jane. It's not even close.
She's not. She's MJ from Ultraverse.
No,
Ultimate Universe.
I have a lot of issues with
The-
you know the
You know what? The fact that they made it
Spider-Man
the what was the one No Way Home where they actually created the multiverse thing, that made it more acceptable for me that she's MJ, because this is not our Spider-Man. This is some other universe's Spider-Man.
But that's my problem is like for a Spider-Man fan, and I'm an OG Spider-Man fan, right? When I want a Spider-Man film the promise is that you're adapting what real Spider-Man. I don't want an alternate universe Spider-Man where you're going to be pissing off and making all these changes and stuff. No, give me the core Spider-Man. And I actually think
I want core
Marvel
Spider-Man with
Spider-Man.
a really freaking hot MJ that could be a
Yes.
model, not
Exactly.
Kirsten Dunst, who what?
Right? Yeah, and that's an important part of the story, right?
Yeah.
Like Peter Parker is a nerd who should never have any chance of getting someone so hot like Mary Jane. On top of that, Mary Jane is a really nice person, really good, right?
Mhm.
And then he has this and that is really important because that kind of goal, that dream of getting with this beautiful, really lovely person, right, is there and is constantly ruining it because he needs to choose to use his powers for good. And being Spider-Man constantly gets in the way of achieving this dream that most nerds could never dream of getting. And it creates a really important dynamic conflict in the Spider-Man story, which is, again, exaggerated by the fact that Mary Jane is insanely hot. Okay. But if you don't get that, you don't understand Spider-Man, the core principles of Spider-Man, and the great power comes great responsibility. And Spider-Man makes pisses me off, especially the last two Marvel films, makes multiple decisions, right, that ruin so much and put so many lives in danger. He's such an incompetent moron. It pisses me off. Anyway, you're getting me started on Spider-Man.
I've got a lot of pushback here about the Kirsten Dunst comment. And look, here's the thing. Kirsten Dunst is actress cute. Mary Jane is model hot. That's the difference, right?
I think, look, as controversial as that statement is, right? I think Mike has a point here. Kirsten Dunst, yeah, she's a good-looking woman, but Mary Jane is supposed to be 10 out of 10. Like, you know, if you've seen...
You hit the jackpot tiger type.
Yeah. You need to really cast a really good-looking lady to do that right. And
what's that show? Because I'm trying to think of around the same time period. That really horrible bad day show. What was that? The movie. Someone's really rotten, horrible day.
Oh yeah, something like that.
There's the redheaded girlfriend in that show. I think that was around the same time period. She would have made a great Mary Jane. and nobody knows what I'm
don't-
talking about. So
I don't know who you're talking about. But there are definitely actresses out there that could
stare
do it.
and nod.
Right. All right. Shifting gears, gentlemen. Who here has been watching The Penguin?
No.
No.
Some people in the audience
Oh,
don't
Max-
like the Penguin. I think it's great.
I think it's brilliant.
Is it on
I
Max?
love it.
Because that's the one I don't have.
Oh,
So,
really?
We don't
Penguin
have a
is.
lot. That's why I don't. Because
Wait, how do you watch Game of Thrones then?
I don't watch Game of Thrones.
That's-
I
You
watch
haven't
good
seen House
stuff.
of the
I just
Dragon?
do.
we cut out that's where I miss on a lot of most of the shows suck, and two, we got rid of a lot of our streaming services because we were like, there's nothing on these. We don't watch anything.
I'm paying like
And so-
$400 for all these.
Well, we weren't paying that much, thank God, but I think we were paying, because we didn't have very many, but I think we were paying like $50 or $60 extra a month. We're like, why are we doing this? This is dumb.
And now
so
one
we-
streaming service is like $60 or something like that. It's insane.
Yeah, we cut them out. We were just like,
I was
this
like-
is-
This
we-
is another subject, but it's so funny that how people used to complain about having to pay all of this cable bill because for all these channels that they don't watch, and they're like, if you could just get it all piecemeal, then you just get the things that you want. And now everybody ending up paying more for all their individual subscriptions because they're just
the only thing we're gonna do is when Tulsa King season 2 comes out.
It is out.
We're gonna wait until the whole thing is
Oh, the
done.
episode's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna wait till the whole thing is done, and then my wife and I are gonna buy the 1 month of Paramount, and then we're gonna watch it, and then we're gonna cancel our subscription because that Tulsa King season 1 was. Tulsa King season 1, I think, was man.
I enjoyed
Sylvester,
it. It was good.
can't you just buy the season on Amazon?
probably could.
That's what I usually do. Just buy it on
Well, it
Amazon.
depends on the pricing, though. Like if it's cheaper to just get the monthly thing and then just watch it all once, because I don't need to watch it episode by episode. I don't care about that.
Like it is interesting how much of a waste of money a lot of streaming services are. If I wasn't running Night's Watch and being a review YouTuber and because one, I wouldn't watch half if not most of the stuff I'm reviewing because I've no friggin' care or interest in it. It's so bad. But there is a good value that reviewers serve that's willing to be honest about stuff and calling this crap out. And so that's why I do what I do. But if not that, one, the streaming services are paid by the business, so there's a tax write-off incentive there. But like to get all of them, you end up paying like a stupid amount of money for stuff that you don't need. Just physical media, people get physical media, and you'll have a lifetime's worth of entertainment that you can go back to. And
Exactly. When Joker 2 comes out on Blu-ray, I'm getting it.
I probably
You get
won't.
the Steelbook.
But I wouldn't even. That's the thing. I wouldn't even get Joker 1, even though Joker 1 I feel is a good movie. I didn't enjoy it. It's not.
Oh, I
my
love it.
type.
I saw it in the theater probably 3 or 4 times. My daughter and I went to go see it over and over again.
I really, really like the Joker one. I probably won't watch it again because
It's depressing.
it is very depressing. But I still say that is probably one of the best movies that's come out in the last 10 years, probably. I think it's that good. But again, highly depressing, and I don't like movies like that. But I will not say that it's not a good movie. I mean, it is.
Oh yeah, it's very.
I would
My Joker review, I used to do a show called Knights of the Round Table back when that movie came out, and my Joker review show had Quarterblack Garrett, Marcus Dunstan, movie director from the Saw movies, and what else did he do? Collector, and then Jack Posobiec.
Oh wow, that's
my
a
Joker
mix.
review. Go watch it on my channel. It's on the
Wow.
front page. But
That's
such an interesting collection of people for a Joker review.
What? Yeah, it was, man. And that was one of those things. That was one of those just. That was a film that the culture, everybody latched on. Which again, you get so few of those today. You know, there used to be movies back in the day that everybody's like, you've got to go see this. You know, I mean, you talk about Star Wars was one of them. Jurassic Park, was another. I'm trying to go through the decades here. What was the early 2000s one that everybody like you had to go see it in like the early
Gladiator.
2000s? Oh yeah, that's right. Oh wow, Gladiator was early 2000. I thought it was late 90s.
I don't know.
I
But
think it was 2001.
Before we go down that rabbit hole too
2001.
much,
Sorry.
the Joker, not the Joker, the Penguin. I get them mixed up.
Different
Their
Batman villain.
villain origin story.
The other Batman
the
villain.
other
Shad.
Batman villain. All right, this one came out of left field. I've never been interested in the Penguin. Okay,
Me either.
All right, but they are doing some solid writing, and Colin Farrell's acting is unbelievably good.
Yeah, this is like Sopranos level. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
Crap. It's actually, I'm shocked at how good it is, especially since I had never any interest in the character. And one of the things that I think is working so well for the character is his depiction. He has this dynamic, multi-layered personality where he actually has this oddly twisted noble goal where he wants to be respected, and he actually feels like he's fighting for the little guy, but the world is so screwed that you can't get success, you can't be revered, you can't help the little guy, and the little guy will never succeed because the world is so crap it'll beat you down unless you play dirty with it.
And he's a psychopath.
And he's a bit of a psycho. Right. But no,
and
like
it's
this
great
last
because
episode,
he's in this place. He's in this place in the mob where it's like he's not even a made man. He's treated like crap. He's the name Penguin is it's a mockery, right? They're mocking him because he's got a gimpy leg, so he waddles when he walks.
Yep.
So they call him a penguin as an insult. You know,
like this last episode really revealed a lot. Like that was already kind of there, but his interactions with his offhand guy. There's going to be mild spoilers for the Penguin if you haven't seen it, but this might encourage you to go check it out. Where he was like going out of his way to ask about the kid's dad, and he was saying your daddy was a mechanic. He should have been like a top, he should be successful. The world's beating him down and stuff like that. And it shows that dynamic. But at the same time, when he has that confrontation, doesn't he say something like, your dad was a loser because he was effectively kind of implying that his dad still didn't amount to anything because he didn't realize what the world was and you have to fight dirty for it. And so that's why I was telling him to
because his dad was trying to play fair.
Yeah. And that's him manipulating the son to try and realize the false.
Yeah, but that was just such a great scene where he's like, leave. You want to leave? Leave. You think I got a gun to your head? And then he puts a gun to his head.
Puts a gun to his head. It's like, has it been feeling like that the whole time? And it's like, well, yeah, you're proving you're right that it was, but that's the contradictory character that he has, where he actually, that threat of death has been hanging over them, but he's trying to say, you could have left any time. I wasn't threatening. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it in the first episode where he's just like, hey, look at that sunset over there. Isn't that a beautiful sunset? And he's like, no, I'm not turning around, bro. He's like, it'd be better for you if I killed you.
And like, I'm kind of surprised and shocked at how personable they've made him as well.
So I have to ask this question. Are they actually telling a Batman story, or did they just want to tell a mobster story, and the only way to do that was to slap
doing the Penguin
similar to what we were talking about with the first Joker film,
because you saw the Batman, right?
No.
Yeah, he was in the
he's in the Batman. He's the same character in the Batman. This takes place immediately following the Batman.
Okay.
So whether or not the Batman's ever in it, I mean, I think the Penguin has to. He's still a grunt in the mob, so he's got to make his way up too. And you can see what he's playing chess from a position of weakness.
We're in a tight budget. We don't get out to the movies a whole lot.
I have one criticism about the Penguin at the moment, and it's a subjective criticism, but it is the absence of Batman in I'm hoping that they're gonna have him appear probably as in the season finale or something like that, right? But they've tried to say, and I think this is a misdirect, like, oh, Batman's not going to appear, kind of wink wink. But I think Batman is such a presence in Gotham, especially what they established in the film. He should have at least been referred to, like when they're moving.
Well, he was in the first episode when they were talking about the flood.
Yeah. But that's kind of it. Like when they're moving the drugs, the guys should be afraid of running into the Batman, because all the criminals were afraid of that. The ominous kind of presence of the Batman.
I gotta watch the Batman again. And
Me too. I'm going to rewatch it because I think I'll enjoy it even more, kind of seeing the penguin in it and stuff and the context there. But there was another moment there was this last episode where I think it was the perfect moment to just name drop the Batman. And it's when I forget her name. She's the psycho mob lady daughter thing.
Sophia.
Sophia. Yeah, that might be her, right? Where she's saying, things are going crazy. We've got, terrorists blowing up stuff, and she actually kind of refers directly to Riddler, what he did, and so she's listing the crazy stuff, and it's like the perfect moment. And we've got crazy vigilantes dressing as bats, terrorizing people in the streets. It was just like perfect moment for it. Not even a hint, and that almost felt like you're avoiding the subject then. And then I'm like. But
you know what I love I love about this her is that for the first 2 episodes they don't drop a clue that they had a previous relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you just saw her as this, like, man, this freaking witch is ice cold. Like every time Oz is trying to give her like everything. Like you think he's trying to manipulate her, and he is trying to manipulate her, but it's like he's trying to give her everything, and like everything's just sliding off of her, like she's freaking like, nah, you're full of crap, and then you don't realize it's because of this animosity. Right?
But the thing is, I think, except at the very end, where
the last
episode, where he starts to tear up, where he starts to say, like,
this is all for you.
You think, and then he was saying that he's like, look at what I've achieved. Like a guy like me, could never achieve anything like that. And actually, that one of the first times he's being honest with her as well.
Yeah. And then he leaves her.
And then screw it, forget it, run.
He does the Joker Harley thing. He's in the middle of the situation where she's about to get killed, and his driver, he gets in the car, and his driver, he's like, what's up? What about Sophia? Screw her, let's go.
Because he is a POS, right? He is a total POS, but like it makes for an entertaining, dynamic character where he has these
really well written, man. Really
willing to manipulate stuff. And look, I actually think I want to give credit to Sophia, okay, because they achieved something that I've rarely seen, okay, but damn, is it effective when they pull it off. To have a female character villain, okay, so many bad writers instantly think the way to make a female villain character is to make them like a male villain character. And they'll try and intimidate people with their presence and just act like a complete, female dog. And look, Sophia is a bit like that. But she does it like she has this intimidation factor that isn't founded on her trying to act masculine or be a girl boss. It's actually founded in her instability and vulnerability. She has this kind of unstable side.
Right. She does, but it's founded in, and that's what we realized in episode 3, is that her being the hangman isn't necessarily true.
Yep.
Right? That's what they're leading on to in episode 3. It's like the first 2 episodes, you're like, holy crap, she just got out of Arkham. She's the hangman. Everybody in the city is terrified of this mass murdering woman. And then in episode 3, she drops these hints that it's like, why does everyone believe this about me?
The thing is, though, they have shown her that she is a merciless murderer. She killed that kid that they like, and so she is capable of that. But maybe she didn't go the full length of the moniker.
Maybe she went crazy in Arkham.
Well, there's that as well.
They were doping her up on the drug.
But this is what I'm saying about the fact, like, there's this vulnerable side to her, and this is the reality, right? If you're wanting to portray the genders truthfully, okay, women are generally have more emotional vulnerability than men. It's just the natural state, and there are exceptions, but if you want to be authentic about it, okay, and women on average deal with more insecurities, emotional insecurities. I'm not saying men can't. And even if they're equivalent, the way they present them is very different. Okay. Women communicate on an emotional level much more instinctively, which is why they're actually really good and in tune at consoling people on an emotional level. And guys, can struggle with that. Okay. And so if you want to write a really dynamic female villain. It's not the only way, but this is a very effective way, and they're doing this with Sophia really well, is actually having the vulnerability and insecurity play into her psychotic nature, where she has this look where it's almost like you can see her trying to keep it all under control. And this was really shown in, was it the when she's having the conversation with a psychiatrist and she's barely holding it together, and you see her like when she's asleep and she's having hyperventilating panic attacks kind of stuff, like, right? Where they actually show that she is not holding it together. And so her front of being so calm and collected is just her barely on the very frayed edges of her control. And she has this unstable nature because she is actually so vulnerable to her mental instability that makes her unpredictable and dangerous. And this is not dangerous because she's so big, strong, and intimidating. The danger is founded because she is vulnerable and insecure, and it comes off as more authentically feminine. Okay, and I'm not saying all women go to that actually by any means, but I'm saying if you play into it and can exaggerate these things, right, it comes off as a far more realistic female villain as a result. Yeah. And I've seen this done really effectively. Exactly. All right, and that's the reality, because look, men are physically stronger than women. Women are more vulnerable, okay? And so, in a physical sense. And so, if you want to write, a female villain, realistically, there are these realities that you can address. And oddly enough, one of the other stories that did this really well, and this shocked me because I was not expecting them to pull this off, right? And I don't think barely anyone has seen this show. It's the Lost in Space Netflix reboot adaptation. Okay,
I didn't watch the whole
thing.
What? That exists?
I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched a few episodes.
Okay.
But
I know they did that.
It exists, right? They gender swapped Dr. Smith. I think it's Dr. Smith, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so now, and he's basically a villain, and they gender swapped Dr. Smith, and they actually did that completely. So the female version of Dr. Smith in this adaptation, right? I was not expecting much because I thought there was, the red flag. They're just a cheap gender swap for diversity's sake. But they actually restructured the character to found their evil nature completely founded on fear and insecurity. And she lashes out and ends up doing and even killing people out of complete self-preservation, scared crap fear. And that instability made for a surprisingly dynamic, intimidating villain, because you couldn't really predict what could set her off. And they end up doing that really well. And so that's another example of this effective utility of a female villain playing into these realities that they're doing in the Penguin. And this is like, there's some serious writing chops on display here. They're going into some like deeper psychological understanding of these characters.
Royce, nobody's going to ask you about your shampoo.
What the hell are you talking about?
You're playing with your hair, Royce.
Oh, I do that. Just do that.
But yeah, like, so
it's a nervous tick.
Okay. There is a lot to appreciate about the Penguin, and I was not expecting it at all.
Recommend. Highly recommend.
Yeah. I mean,
man, you didn't even recognize Colin Farrell.
Not at all, right?
Oh, funny. Yeah.
He's got range, which is like,
you know what I would love? I would love if this builds into a Batman TV show. That like if they got the same writers, keep it in the same universe, and instead of doing the Batman sequel on television, give a proper TV show to Batman. But for some reason, they're so against doing
Batman
superheroes
TV show,
Batman live action TV show. It's like it's the perfect.
Well, because they ruined it last time they did it.
We had like Gotham Knight or something like that. We had Batwoman, but we can't have Batman.
Did you know? Hey, there's a story actually about Batman. I don't know if I've told it on this story, but I heard it on a PBS. There's the guy that owns the license for Batman in media. I don't know if it still isn't, but it wasn't DC because they licensed it. This dude came in back in the late 60s and talked to, I think it was Archie Goodwin, right? He was friends with Archie Goodwin, I think. And he comes in and he's like, I want to get the license to buy, to do the Batman movies. And Goodwin's like, yeah, no, you don't. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, the Batman TV show killed Batman as a licensable property. It did so poorly.
because it was, but I thought that was really successful.
No, it's a cult classic. It was terrible when it came out.
No,
It killed the
I'm
license.
sure. I need to look that up.
I heard that story from the dude. It was on PBS. I'd love to find it someday. But so he basically he really twisted his arm and he really wanted it. So he got the freaking perpetual license for like $5,000, something like that. And he spent the next almost 20 years trying to get a Batman movie made according to the Batman he grew up with, which is the dark Knight, right? And that's when he got together with Tim, what's his face, and made Batman 89. And that rebooted freaking
that
comic book
revitalized
movies for,
Batman. Like,
Because-
they tried to kill it again in the 90s with Batman and Robin. And
they killed it with Batman and Robin. That's right.
Yeah.
Like,
I was the prime time age for that movie too. I loved that movie. I watched it as an adult. I'm like,
oh my gosh, that was the first movie I ever walked out of, dude. I couldn't. Oh my gosh.
I had it on VHS.
Oh, did you hear the story of the old Batman TV show, right? Doing a crossover with the Green Hornet, and it has Bruce Lee in it.
It was
I
awesome.
had heard about that. Yeah.
I actually haven't watched it, but the thing is, right? That's why I assumed it was doing well, because they got some larger name actors to come in, but they would just ham it up and they enjoyed doing it, and then they would do crossovers with other shows. But
I think it was only like 1 or 2 seasons, right?
I don't know now. I need to, because they even did a movie based after the show. Like,
that was good too. It was a lot of fun. The Adam West Batman is great because it has like first of all, he's a deputized agent, so he's not a vigilante. And
that's because you can't.
My favorite part is the reason why all the bad guys are always out, all the major villains are always out and free is specifically because of liberal progressive policies.
So Bruce Lee, he was they did a crossover with the Batman because he played Kato in the Green Hornet, and they wanted to make his character lose. So the two sidekicks were going to fight. So Bruce Lee was going to fight Robin, and Robin in the Batman show is this skinny kid wearing underwear, right? and they wanted Bruce Lee to lose to Robin. They wanted Kato to lose Robin, and Bruce Lee was pissed at that because he knew in real life this kid, it doesn't stand a chance against friggin' Bruce Lee. And so the guy who played Robin got wind of it, and he was packing his stacks. He was deathly afraid of Bruce Lee. And now I can't remember if they still had Kato lose to Robin, but
that's interesting.
I think they tied or something.
They tied at the end because it turns out that the actor was so packing his stacks and afraid of.
The thing is, the actor who played Robin, I think was he was into martial arts. I think that's kind of what happened. I think he's also like a teacher maybe, but he's no Bruce Lee. So, and even then, like Robin fighting Kato and winning doesn't make any sense. Like Robin, the character, would not make any sense.
Hey guys, have you heard much about the Ubisoft stuff that's going down at the moment?
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit. I heard a little bit more.
Wild.
They're going downhill pretty quickly.
Fast.
Like, aren't they trying to sell themselves off now as well?
No, kind of.
No, but I think Tencent is trying to buy them or something like that.
No, what they're trying to do is that the family and Tencent are trying to consolidate the shares between the two of them, so like the family could still somewhat maintain ownership and all that. And take themselves off of the publicly traded market, so they want to go private again. But it would be owned between them and Tencent. But and I'll not sure that the family is exactly looking to cash out or not. It's crazy, just the stuff that's coming out in the and it's almost a day by day update with what's going on. It's been nuts. Like they were like, hey, we're going to push back Assassin's Creed Shadows to February, which is Black History Month, by the way. Just don't forget that little point there. And then, because the Black Samurai that they're trying to push and Assassin. But anyway, so yeah, okay, yeah,
I
that's
did an
fine.
Assassin's Creed redesign video. You should check it
Yeah,
out.
dude. So anyway, so and then just after that, it's just been one thing after the other, and then because Tencent, I think, owns like 8 or 9% of the company. They're one of the larger, but they want to, and they struck a deal years ago about, you know, if they wanted to do shares or whatever. But it'd be really interesting because a lot of people are saying, because they have like 20,000 employees. Like Ubisoft is huge or something like that. It's ridiculous.
You know, and Royce, just on the employees at Ubisoft, on this note, have you seen this?
Yeah,
I saw that.
yeah.
So this is aged poorly. Congratulations to Ubisoft for paving the way for game development studios to hire based on gender.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
And
Now they're
Ubisoft.
going under.
Remember,
talking
don't
about-
hire based on quality and qualifications.
they're-
They are specifically been celebrated
well,
for
that's-
hiring
that-
based on gender.
That's
not
the
Purple-haired land
Marxist
whales up front,
ideology.
please.
That's the Marxist ideology. Is you have to get rid of meritocracy. Like
Yep.
that's why the Marxists have done this, is because it's a sympathetic way to institute it into the economy and into society. It's
And you know, I like this does such a disservice to the talented female devs out there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, like because what the ultimate result will be if these companies want to if they get the wrong idea from this, they might actually thinking hiring women at all is a bad idea. Which no, you hire based on merit. And if you have a qualified female, you know, game dev, you hire her if she's qualified and good at her job. And if it just so happens that more men are interested in game development, which yes, that is reality. Who gives a crap? Let people do the jobs that they enjoy. And if it's a different representation, that's just people with freedom choosing what they want. And that's been the case for like all of time. Men and women have gravitated towards different roles based on their innate, you know, qualities, what they're naturally talented at and what they're good at and what they excel. And therefore, you know, the best people being hired for the job, and also what they just enjoy doing. Okay. Like we've done this time and time again. Studies have been done when people are given complete freedom. Men and women usually gravitate and become more separated in the roles that they choose. When we're not coerced or socially engineered, pure freedom, okay, oftentimes it becomes more, you know, divided in those roles.
And the problem is now too is that I think like we're seeing what I'm seeing a lot lately is anything that has because everybody's on a hair trigger for this shit now. So anything that's got like a woman in it, or it's got a person that's not white or whatever, the at least one side of it's like, oh, it's gotta be woke. And it's like, whoa, hold on, guys, calm down. Like we're not there yet. Like it could be, but but again, it's putting people on a hair trigger, and I'm just like, I don't know if I like where that's going, because I think, well, and I was listening to Clownfish TV the other day, and Geeky and Neon had a really good thing. They're like, we think this has done the opposite. It's not like, because now when people see people getting hired, they're like, oh, that's got to be a DEI hire. It's like,
that's what I'm saying. And I think it's having the reverse effect, doing more damage to the cause that they were fighting for.
And in a lot of cases, it probably was, but also in a lot of cases, probably not.
There are some good female game devs out there. And now...
No, there aren't. Come on.
You don't think there's not a single one, Mike? Not a single one?
There's probably some good black game devs out there. There's probably some good, Mexican game devs out there. There's probably some good Asian game devs out there.
They're all Asian, Royce.
They're all, I know, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's having a reverse effect here in the West. Is like it's making people.
I worked in gaming back when it was good. Trust me, they're all
right.
But okay,
the white guys are just the front facing.
Bayonetta. I haven't played the game, but by all accounts, it's supposed to be a pretty good game.
What's his name? I had
which lady with guns on her feet?
Yeah,
I thought
he was the guy who actually created that. He was the guy who actually created
created
Dante.
by a woman. It wasn't the director, like the creator or director.
It's God.
One of the
what
lead
is-
designers or something like that is a woman on
Itsuno,
Bayonetta.
Kamiya, I believe his name is Kamiya. Itsuno Kamiya.
I don't know.
Sounds
Hang on.
rather
Hey, there is
oriental.
something
Who
about
was the
feminist
creator of the first Devil May Cry, and actually
Japanese fella,
left
huh?
during the development of the second one because he got tired of Capcom's crap. Went and started his own independent studio, and then came out with Bayonetta after that.
I need to look this up.
I
'cause
think his
either-
name is
I know
Kamiya.
something.
Japanese fella, Royce?
Yes.
I do like the fact that they end up making her straight, and that really upset everyone on Twitter. They
Okay,
gave her, like
okay.
a husband, and
All right. Bayonetta seems, I think it was created by a dude, but designed by a woman.
Okay.
Well,
that's
designed
fine.
by Mari Shimazaki. So
Sounds
yeah,
Japanese.
it is. She is Japanese.
Well, yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, no, but it's the same guy who created Devil May Cry. It's the same guy who
Okay,
he was
okay.
working for Capcom, and then
guess
I
what,
know
Royce? We're
I
both
don't-
right.
you're
Isn't that a
touch-
wonderful thing?
You're touching
Devil's May Cry
autism.
was the 90s, right?
No, yeah, kind of. The development was, well, it wasn't originally Devil May Cry. Originally, it was actually going to be the fourth Resident Evil. But what had happened is during the development of it is they kind of got so far off because they wanted it to be kind of a spin-off, but they got so far off of what Resident Evil was, and then the creator of it ended up going out and testing a game for one of his buddies in another studio just to see what was going on, and there was this mechanic in it that it was glitching out, but it caused you to be able to juggle the stuff. And he thought it was so funny, he actually took it back and was like, guys, we've got it. So they totally changed the mark that they were going for, turned it into Devil May Cry, and that glitch that he thought was funny turned into the stylized action combat of Devil May Cry, which then everybody loved the first one. It goes on. The second one starts going downhill because he's getting really pissed at Capcom because they keep trying to just inject themselves into it. And so he says, screw you guys. I'm going over, making my own studio, makes his own studio, creates Bayonetta. And then from that, you actually even get split offs like God of War was heavily inspired in the early days by Devil May Cry. And it basically, because of that guy, the gaming industry just expanded in a way, and he does not get a lot of credit for that.
Yeah,
It's
Devil May Cry
nuts.
was. I just remember when that came out. Yeah, I guess it's 2000, but dang,
Yeah.
that was freaking 2001.
Dude.
Maybe
I
That
mean,
was
that was
fire.
freaking awesome. Yeah,
so
Fire.
many better games
So
were being
good.
made,
Oh.
back in the
almost
day.
as good as Super Puzzle Fighter 2.
Okay, so going back to this, I can't stand the hypocrisy because this is the reality, right? If there is something wrong with this top image, which guess what? There's not, okay? It's just people being hired in a job, and if there's a different representation in certain, fields, that's just the reality of where the chips fall and people choosing, right? But this
I
thing,
can't believe
if
they
this-
don't even have a token black guy in the second picture.
Well, this thing, if there is something wrong with this, then there is something wrong with the bottom image, okay?
Yeah.
Because
Nope.
this shows that it's never, ever been about equal representation. And look, I know there's probably still more dudes in the company and they only got all the women to do a thing, but the sentiment that they're implying is that this bottom image is better and a better situation than the first one. And that's not equality. I don't see equal representation. I see
but it's
a
not
complete
about
switch.
equality, Shad. That's
Exactly.
Where you're
It's
wrong.
not.
It's not. To them, again, it's the Marxist ideology about fighting the injustices in
It's about-
society and how it's been
it's about
keeping
power.
certain. It is about keeping. Well, yeah, that's all Marx really wanted. And why do you think the mostly peaceful protests they didn't look? Because it was the Marxist ideology. Because if you can't get society to bend to you and promote you, even though you suck, just go and burn society down. Like that's why I'm really tired of a lot of people like kind of misrepresenting what the whole woke ideology is, because like it's Marxism. It's just
found it.
It's just cultural Marxism, and I think a lot of people are forgetting that. And like that's why it has to get rid of meritocracy. That was the key point in Marxism, is getting, because meritocracy wasn't founded on actual merit. It was just founded on rich people. Again, it's the lie that he spewed in his books, in his book. You've got to boil it down to that, and that's what all of this freaking stems from.
I mean, the fundamental like philosophy, right, of woke ideology is founded, in Marxist theory.
Bye, Shad.
I guess YouTube was sick of Shad.
Sorry, yeah, I was trying to take this down and I clicked the wrong button. But no, what I was saying is,
Sounds like you were on a really good point right there.
I know, right? And it's just no, but like
I love how YouTube goes to StreamYard.
woke ideology, some of the fundamental philosophy being founded on the philosophy of communism. Okay,
Yeah.
redistribution. That's what the whole push for diversity is, where they want to redistribute, right, the job opportunities and stuff like that for the people that claim that they can't get it. They want equality of outcome, not equality of opportunity. That's what communism is. Everyone having equal. Okay, the fundamental philosophy, right? Exactly. They want equivalent outcomes and do away with hierarchies and merit, okay, to achieve it. The philosophies are the same. So when people say woke ideology and this sort of thing is communistic theory, right? It's one of the same essentially.
And the reason that they turned it into the cultural thing with the marginalized groups, let's say, is because for the longest time they couldn't get anywhere talking to people about their money. It's like, well, because people just kind of accept, yeah, some people are going to have money, some people aren't, and that's just kind of a well-known accepted reality. So they use the cultural standpoints of like, oh, you've been putting gay people down, you've been putting black people down, you've been putting, and then you stack on top of it, oh, black gay woman, blah blah blah, all this stuff, right? But they did that because that plays upon the temperaments of the Judeo-Christian West, who we want to be sympathetic to the plight of other people, and we want to get them, and it really played against that in the West so heavily, which is why you're seeing what's going on happen, and that's why it's been so successful. And
it's a simple thing. They go, hey, you're not a racist, aren't you? Yeah, I'm not racist. Oh, good. Because, like, you know, you would have to be a racist if you don't have the right amount of people hired or have the right diversity and stuff like that. So, ergo, you have to and believe in equality of outcomes. Otherwise, you're a racist. And they do, and it's a lie, of course, but they use that.
And I would just push back on the reason it's successful. The reason it's successful is because those people have inculcated education and the media, so they're pushing this as an agenda. And most people are just cheap.
I agree. That is one of the
people won't even stand up against public scrutiny. Forget, you know.
Yeah.
We Are Harbinger has a great point. It's weaponized empathy. That is a very.
But no, I agree with Mike.
Oh yeah, I just heard Kamala Harris say Trump has no empathy. It's like, shut up.
But Kamala's going to bring joy back to America, whatever that means.
Oh, God. But. No, Mike, I don't think there's just one reason it's successful. I don't think there's the reason. I think there are many reasons, and it was a tactful plan to get all of this stuff in place. Like
they've been working on this for 100 years.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, of course they have been. And that's what a lot of people kind of forget. And it's why you'll see me on Twitter lately and people are like, this is woke. I'm like, guys, if it's not Marxist, it's not woke. Like, that's a key thing. It could be stupid. It could be that. But if it's not Marxist, it's not woke. If it's not communist, it's not woke. Like,
yeah, but the whole agenda is Marxism. It's cultural Marxism.
Oh no, I'm talking about people who are just like saying dumb stuff on Twitter. Like, people are saying that anything that has anything that has a gay person is woke. I've heard people say that. I'm like, what? No. I'm like, dude, no, you're dumb. And they're like, they're like, this decision was obviously made because it's what I'm like, you.
Okay.
Know that.
Let me jump on that because I agree, guys. I agree with what you're saying, because it shouldn't anyone, like, if there's a woman character in it or a gender swap or a gay character, doesn't inherently mean it's woke. But I do sympathize with the people that see it as a red flag. Okay,
no, and see it as a red flag
because
don't jump the gun.
But yeah, they shouldn't jump the gun. But the trend is that's the signs of having a woke agenda, usually because of those, you know, making those changes for no other good reason apart from.
Look, here's a reality. The representation is freaking beyond ridiculous already. Oh, yeah. Homosexuality, 2% of the population. Ask any random person who doesn't know the facts, and according to the media, according to entertainment and everything, they think gay people are 20% of the population because that's how overrepresented it is in media.
And it's probably a higher representation in the shows and TV shows as well about, in terms of characters and stuff. But gentlemen, we're going to quickly shift gears and catch up on some super chats. And so we have...
before you do that, could I just implore people? I am like 99 subs away from 11,000. And if half the people here just sub to my channel, I'd break
Go sub to Blacklist Universe. Get him over the line, everyone. You can do it. I believe you. Do it. Okay, so we have a $4.99 super chat from Gemini. Says, "Hey guys, hope all is well. What's the best advice, okay, both writer and consumer, for new aspiring writers? Also, keep Florida in your prayers." Yeah, we talked about that at the beginning of the stream. Florida is,
it's gonna
dude.
get
I'm
rough.
worried. I'm worried, man. I hope it's not as bad as it's looking to be. Now, as to advice for a writer and consumer, both as a writer and consumer, for a new aspiring writer. The thing is, you just need to do it because you enjoy it. Okay. It is hard to break in, but there are more opportunities now than there were before. You don't need traditional publishing, but if you're going to go self-publishing, you need a way to market yourself. That's going to be your challenge then, because you can reach a global market now without any real hassle. Okay.
On top of which, traditional publishing now, publishers don't do anything to market you unless you're already big enough that they can kind of ride the coattails of your own marketing or your own name in order to publish that. You're better off self-publishing.
The other thing too is, don't forget this, guys. If you're going to write and publish your own book, even before you get to the marketing, don't self-edit. Hire an editor. There are editors that will work for a low price. I know quite a few of them that I run a show on Friday nights with one. Editing can get wild in price, but there are some indie guys out there that are also working in the field that they're lowering their prices to help you out. Editors, trustworthy beta readers that will tell you, hey, this didn't make sense. Like, if you're going to get into it, put out the best possible product that you can. So when you get to that marketing stage, like what these guys are talking about, you've got that best possible chance that when it hits people's hands, they go, oh, wow, I loved this. I'm going to tell somebody else.
Well, see, I would go even further than that. I would say, if you are serious about wanting to pursue writing properly, okay, and you're actually serious about it, you need to begin with a marketing strategy from the get-go before you even got the book ready. You need to figure it. That's what I did. One of the reasons I started YouTube, okay, was to build an audience that I could market my novel to when it was ready. Okay. And that's worked out brilliantly. In fact, it became my primary job because it worked out so well. But that was one. There was a number of reasons, but that was one of the reasons. Okay. That was legitimately a marketing strategy that I began with. It might not work with everyone because not everyone can do YouTube. YouTube isn't a walk in the park, and there's a lot of people trying to do it now more than ever. So there are other strategies you can look at and utilize, and you can look at them up, look up self-published authors and stuff like that talk about it. Brandon Sanderson is a great resource that talks about this stuff, and he talks about other strategies you can do to try and get some exposure and get seen. Okay?
That's why I'm building my channel back up.
Yeah. See? All right. Marketing strategy. So thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you. Judah for $2 says, name change, Joker, a wound too deep, too far gone. I mean, I think, the subtitle of the Joker, I think is dumb because I can barely pronounce it. The Fleur Bled de Deuce.
The madness of two.
Is that what it is?
That's what I mean.
Is it?
It's already too pretentious.
Folie à deux.
Folie à deux. Folie à deux.
Folie à deux.
Oh yeah, Shad, you can't pronounce anything that's not Australian.
I know, exactly. We Australians are masters at butchering languages. I mean, you look like
Shad.
Look what we've done to English.
Nice.
God.
It's true though.
No, the rest of Australia is catching strays tonight. Holy crap.
Reptile0009 for $4.99 says, aspiring writer looking to write a story about female warriors who hunt and fight monsters. Do you have any writing advice to get me started? I mean, write what you enjoy, but yeah, there's that as well. But in terms of just now the craft of writing, you need to study the craft. Okay. And part of it is practice. Most likely the first thing you make, is it going to be great? Okay. Right. So first thing you write, you need to keep writing, keep doing it. And you do that because you enjoy it. All right. Study the craft. Well, there's that. And there's a lot of online resources. I would suggest looking at all of Brandon Sanderson's lectures on creative writing. They're all on YouTube. They're all free. These are the lectures he gives at university. I don't think he has the time and is not doing it anymore, but there are 5-6 years worth of university level lectures on creative writing, which is equivalent to a university's level education on creative writing available for free. There are so many resources. And then
I'd love to hear.
you need to study and then practice.
I'd love to hear lit devs on this, but if I just broke it, I'd say read Save the Cat, very basic story structure. Write what you know. Everybody freaking says that. And when you're writing characters, write your characters individually based on people you are familiar with, so they don't sound like the same person. Because that's what drives me nuts, is when you're reading something and everyone has the exact same voice. Yeah,
that's a strategy. But if you get practice and everything, you don't need to base it on an individual. But for me, I end up basing it on archetypes, personality types, or structuring.
Well, yeah, even actors, right? It's like, this guy is going to be Christopher Walken. However you read it, whatever. But that's what it's in my head, you know.
But Lit Dev, what do you think on this one?
Well, that's what when it comes to tropes and everything and archetypes, you start off with those. I kind of equate to the Pinewood Derby. If anyone's ever done that, one of those, you get the little block of wood, and then your job is to carve it down into your own unique little car. So that's kind of what I think tropes should be. You get the trope that everyone uses, which is your blank block of wood, and then you just carve it down to unique to your story. Before, like a story about women fighting monsters, I would say watch Atomic Blonde, because that one where she actually does fight with a bunch of men physically, and it's pretty good. She doesn't do the John Wick thing where she tears through like 100 people, because John Wick is like a 6'5" giant and a man. She is a woman fighting these much larger men, and so like every fight is intense. So she's being thrown around, tossed around. She's at the end, she's all bruised up and she fails. But it feels very intense.
On that note, right, it's funny that he mentions, female character fighting monsters, because that's literally a character that I'm currently writing for a project that looks like it will be moving ahead, which is pretty cool.
Sweet.
And it's
this the one you've been talking about?
Yep. And it's come together. Like I've already written the script for what it's going to be part of, and it came together really well. And so I haven't signed a contract yet, though, but it looks like that's going to be moving ahead. And one of the things, like, it's been really fun when writing a female, action character. Okay, I think it's very important to make them feel authentic and real, and that means having a feminine side to that character, and not just writing him as a dude. Okay, and so, but there are multiple.
I'm lost. You lost me, Shad.
There are multiple ways to achieve that, and I'm having fun by keeping that, because the character that I'm writing, she's actually quite stoic. Her emotions are muted, but I have sides of her personality that poke out, and they're going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. And so I would also add that, like if you're writing a female character, just like writing a male character, all right, what are those traditional kind of traits that is going to feel authentic about that female or male character?
What I like about the female characters that have like they're more stoic. A lot of times I've seen these kind of characters in media, and they still have a little bit of femininity to them, Mandy from Billy and Mandy. Like, she still has like a pink shirt with a flower on it.
I mean,
dude, one of my favorite was the duck lady from the new DuckTales TV show. She's the daughter or the doppelganger of Spell Lady, the witch lady.
Yep.
She's all like dark and gothic, but she has she has a diary, right? And her diary's like, it has like a little unicorns on it, but they're devil unicorns or something. So she's still like very dark and everything, but there's little hints of like girly girl stuff in there.
I know one of the things that I love that does this so well is the main character Vin in Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn series. It is so great because she starts off as this hardened urchin who will not trust anyone because she's been raised in abuse and by these criminals and stuff. And then she joins this new gang that's led by this really decent, anti-hero guy, Kelsier, and she has to learn what it means to be a friend, but also part of it, she has to learn what it means to be a woman because she's never had anything girly, and she gets dressed up in these really nice dresses because she's used as a infiltrative kind of insert into the nobility, and she ends up loving the dresses and stuff like that, and she basically discovers her femininity through the story. And one of the pictures of it is is like My Fair Lady, if you've ever heard of the film My Fair Lady, but with a heist movie and fantasy, and it's done so great. I love the character Vin and Miss Bourne, and brilliant. And so, man, like you can write such great female characters, and I get pissed off when people like
Have you seen the trailer for, I can't remember, this the new Ana de Armas movie based off of her character in John Wick? In the trailer, she's being trained to be an assassin, and it's so great because in the trailer itself, the lady training her is like, "You will always be weaker. You will always be smaller. You have to cheat."
Shirley was mostly good.
People were calling that woke. People were calling the John Wick trailer woke. Did you not see that?
So
ballerina.
They made that point in the trailers.
I know, but it's fucking woke, dude. It's got a woman. It's got a woman. That's what I'm saying. Is people are jumping.
The woke part about it is that when they say that you always be smaller and you got to improvise, and she improvises by kicking the guy in the nuts. And like, you got to cheat, kicks in the nuts again. I was like, it's just John Wick made by Marvel.
No, I think that's valid. Go for the ouchie points.
I mean,
ultimately,
that was the woman's self-defense class in King of the Hill. Remember that?
She's an assassin. Like,
kick him right
she's
in
not
the
Peggy
balls.
Hill. She's an assassin.
No. It was Bobby Hill that was doing. Dude, I'm sorry.
I'm willing to give it a shot too. Now, look, I just on the ballerina John Wick thing. I don't blame people in the modern day like being hypersensitive to it, but I think it is a mistake to just write it off completely, calling it woke, because the trailer did kind of address like she's going to be weaker, and that's usually something that feminists hate, actually acknowledging that men are stronger than women. Shock. And so I'm willing to give it a go. I think we'll have to wait and see.
The longer
you have to give this to women. Women have a higher pain tolerance, so when she's like beat the snot out of by the end of the trailer, you're like, yeah, that makes sense.
Although, on that note, it turns out the body's reaction to pain between men and different is somewhat different. Pain in men can trigger adrenaline, and
what's it do to women?
Not as much adrenaline, but because of childbirth, women have a surprising. They can have a very high pain tolerance, but for men, that can trigger them to go nuts as well. So it's just interesting on that note. All right, next super chat. This is from Anime Fan.
Litdev had something to say.
Oh, sorry, Litdev, were you going to say something?
Oh, just one more thing about the trailers. I saw the elongated version when I went to go see this amazing movie called Joker 2, and it actually does feel a lot better than the shorter one, because she respects John Wick, she meets John Wick and shows him respect, and is like, please teach me and everything. So she is humble in the face of John Wick. It isn't really have the setup, the usual classical setup of, oh, she's gonna be way better than him. And you get to see a point in there where Thor goes, I like this one, or something like that. It's just everything else is fine. The only thing that got me the wrong way was when she kicked the guy in the nuts twice.
That's a visceral reaction, Litdev. I get it.
Yeah,
everyone was nuts gets it.
No guy likes seeing that.
No.
I know that's the thing that feminists love to say. My mind went to Loki, where it's like, haha, he gets nuts like 10,000 times. Ha ha ha. Take that, stupid men. That's where it got.
Yeah. So I do not fault you for having that reaction, sir. Anime Fan 3794 for 499 says, Shad, do something about the ads on this stream. I got 3 political ads before I could start watching. I'm actually happy to take as much money from
before the election.
I know it's not going to happen. But if it's going to be Kamala ads, I'll take her money. They probably don't want to support this channel, and if they end up doing it inadvertently, suckers, I say. Because I trust your guys' intelligence that you're probably not going to be swayed by some cheesy propaganda ads that are going to be appearing online.
Depends on how. Depends. It depends.
I trust our audience. Anime Fan 3794 again. 49 says, so you're promising that All Star will not be a romance, right? I actually think romance can complement action stories really nicely, but it's not going to be like a rom-com, no. But romance can really, just add something.
Yeah, romance is a key part of Lone Star's story arc.
Yep. Anime Fan 3794 for 1 hour says, at least the MCU MJ didn't leave Peter for Paul. Let's not talk about current day Spider-Man. It's depressing. And then Anime Fan again for 4.99 says Netflix plus gender swap equals no surprise. Netflix gender swap plus actual good writing, wunderbar. Like, it can happen. And like I said, I quite enjoyed that Lost in Space first season, and I think I enjoyed the second season too. And I was surprised at how well they did the Dr. Smith character in it. And then We Are Harbinger for $5 says, Ubisoft can bury. They earned it. It is a red flag when you see giant dev teams filled with women. There is a reason they are so expensive, but crap. So, like, it's a pity that that's the case. But the thing is, when you hire based on tick boxes, immutable characteristics, and not quality, the simple result is you're not going to be hiring the best people. Okay? I mean, that's just it. And Gemini for $4.99 says, plausible to make a female stealth sniper type? ? Yeah, I think that's plausible. Underhand
And the
tactics
Russians
and such
did it
to
back
get
in World War
yeah.
II.
So he says underhand tactics and such to get away when they get close. Yeah, absolutely, that can work. Like, there are some brilliantly
the Russians in World
written.
War II.
Yeah, there are such brilliantly written female action heroes and stuff. And again, that's why I get pissed off when people try and go, "You guys just hate women in me." It's like, get stuffed. These are some of my favorite characters around there. We just want them written well and not come off as like these one-dimensional wooden plank, overly stoic, masculine girl boss, insufferable cows. Like Galadriel from Rings of Power is just the perfect example of one of the worst written female characters, where they wanted her to be a dude, right? And she's acting all in their face and masculine, and she's just horrible. She's an
not every female character has to be angry and mean.
Exactly. But they think they're taking like lessons out of feminists. That's like, get angry, get mean, get stuck in people's faces and tell everyone they're sexist. And then they end up just writing characters like themselves, and they become insufferable, horrible, entitled.
What's so funny too is, like, you would figure with, and I mean, they're not the greatest things on the planet, but you would figure with like the success of the Hunger Games, right? And like, they didn't write Jennifer Lawrence's character to be this horrible witch. Mm-hmm. She was compassionate. That's actually what won her. That's why she was so popular to all the districts. As she was, that's where that came from. She held it up in reverence for the little one that died during the Hunger Games, and they were like, "Oh my God, this woman!" And it brought all of them together. Like, one would think that everybody's like, wow, that's a good character. But again, it's not about that. It really is about injecting the communist message into our media and changing our worldview to the communist ideals. It's really what it is. I keep going back to that because I don't want people to forget that, and I feel like some people are, and I'm seeing it more and more, and I just don't want people to forget that.
The common depiction of women in woke media, where they over masculinize stuff like that, is doing such a disservice for women, I reckon, overall, where like constantly encouraging them to act like just cows, like mean, get in your face and be, because they think that's how men act. It's like, no, we don't, because men understand that, if you get in someone's face, there's an implicit threat of that happening in return.
And I again, that's an experience that a lot of women don't have, because oftentimes they'll get in someone's face, and then if you're dating that woman, you've got to step up and you've kind of got to deal with it. And that's why I think a lot of these women in Hollywood, because they've never had to deal with consequences like that ever. Mm-hmm.
And well, it also betrays some core aspects of feminine nature as well, where when I say that women can be vulnerable and even insecure more than men, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it makes them sensitive and attuned to some really important, emotional things that helps relationship building and stuff like that. But they're almost saying that, no, that's something wrong to be sneered at. And what you see with so many of these horrible girl boss characters is no vulnerability at all. And they're just like, I'm perfect from the get-go, right? And it's just annoying, because this thing, men have vulnerabilities as well, but we deal with them generally different than women. Okay. And if you want to write good, authentic characters, think about what they're concerned about. what they're insecure about, how they deal with these things. And you'll write a much better real character, authentic character. And also, you can write a character that connects with the audience, you sympathize with them more if you understand the vulnerabilities that they're dealing with. And men have an instinctive reaction when they see women in a vulnerable state. Men want to protect it. They want to have a sense of, all right, I want to help out with that, right? And you can use that in storytelling to make female characters where they're willing to kind of, show some of that vulnerability, show some of that gentleness and stuff like that. Men will, like I said, some of my favorite characters are female action characters, right? Vin from Mistborn is up there with some of the best. And part of it is just how well written she is. Hey, Buddy Rabbit, $50 says, forgive my lateness. Sorry, mate, it's not your fault. It's my fault. Accept my penance, gentlemen. Salute. And salute to you, Buddy Rabbit. Thanks for that 50, dude. You are
women and consequences. I think the Joker 2 movie also got that right, because Harley Quinn set the building on fire, received no consequences, and then smashed open a window front of a store, stole a TV, walked away, no consequences. Like, whoa, this is a pretty accurate movie.
Yeah. What's the Jack Nicholson line from that movie? Like, how do you write women so well?
Oh, that's hilarious.
And I take away all, what is it?
All accountability.
Reason and accountability.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty accurate movie here.
So that's from the film As Good as It Gets. Jack Nicholson
Yeah.
is a writer in it, and he's a writer, and he writes like romances. And a woman comes up and is like, "Just how do you write women so well?" And his response is, I'll say it again: I think of a man and take away reason and accountability.
Accountability.
That's wild. Wow.
It's funny.
Perfect.
Hollywood used to have balls. All right. Look, thank you everyone for joining us. It is time to start wrapping up. I apologize for the time change. I want to discuss with the guys here, what might be the best time to handle daylight savings and other things. So guys, stick around after we sign off and we'll quickly chat about that if you can. And, but before we head off, Royce, what you doing? Where you from, mate?
Hey, I'm Royce from A Drink with Crazy. I do a lot of different videos over on my main channel, A Drink with Crazy. Gaming talks, anime talk, just whatever's kind of interesting me. Lately, everything that's going on with gaming is just hot news right now. So I'm having fun. Go check me out over on A Drink with Crazy. And also, I have A Drink with Crazy Live, where I go live multiple times a week, and I interview indie creators, and I do independent creator shout-out streams for comics, the guys doing comics, movies, tabletops, all that stuff. If you guys want to know where to find your Iron Age books and your Iron Age creators at, stop by on the A Drink with Crazy Live channel on Wednesday nights and Friday nights.
Awesome stuff. Lit Dev, what you up to? Where you from, mate?
I'm on YouTube, Literature Devil. Always busy debunking the mainstream narratives and proving that you're actually not racist. Their stuff just sucks. And I'm currently working on my own comic book with a female character who fights monsters, oddly enough.
They're fun, and we don't have enough ones that are well written, and so people might be getting some cool stuff coming out. Because one of the other things that I know for myself, I'm not a shamer, is making the characters also is just sexy. I they got sex appeal, happy to use it, and I know the target audience as well, and so I'm quite excited for what I'm working on. But that sounds awesome, Litev.
Head to head.
Awesome, mate. Awesome. And Mike, you're going great. Your channel's exploding, mate.
Channel's growing. I need 93 more to get to 11,000 subscribers. Trying to get to 12K by the end of the year. I'm also creating a comic book. It's called Girl Boss. Yeah. I just came up with that right now.
Just came out right now.
But on my YouTube channel, I do a lot of drawing streams. I've been doing a lot of fixing stuff, like fixing Concord, fixing Assassin's Creed. Today I uploaded a mashup of Warhammer 40K and Venom. So I venomized Warhammer 40K. I've got a comic book, LoneStarComic.com. The plan was to get it out by the end of the year, but then I just realized it's October. So might not squeeze that by the end of the year, but that's the plan. I'm going to do everything I can.
Awesome.
Please subscribe. Only 93 left.
subscribe to Blackulist Universe, and if you haven't, subscribe to Night's Watch. Okay, because
Subscribe
sometimes
to me too. Do that thing.
yeah,
Well,
we need it.
Watch my videos first. If you don't like what I say, then don't subscribe. But
But like sometimes, I don't know, there might be an idiot that forgets about daylight savings or something like that, and times might change. And being subscribed with the bell notification on will help you get alerted so you don't miss out.
And sometimes they're from Australia.
Yeah, that's just even worse. Just that you don't need a qualify. There's no just Australian.
When does daylight savings here? Did we already do it?
No, you have to use it like November. don't you switch over? Like
I don't even
November?
pay attention.
No, it's not yet because I know. I know I haven't gotten messed up with FNT on that note yet. So but I think it's later in a couple of months or a month or two. But also, I encourage everyone to watch my recently done video on Night's Watch, where it's a tighter scripted review of Rings of Power. And I'm really, really happy with that video. I think it actually might be one of the best videos I've ever made. And there's going to be a lot more content like that. And so really concise reviews on Night's Watch. So subscribe so you get to see those. Check it out, guys. Yeah, see, look at this. Look at this guy. Shad has Rings of Power reviews. Hell yeah. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate you all. And we are about to sign off and see you later. So as always, stay on watch.